Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely Stream Deck. For more information about the Stream Deck, the link is in the description below.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name, as per usual, is the one, the only, your usual host, Mr. Evil Dragon XL. Joining me once again, as the last season and a half, is the one and only Jess. Say hello, Jess.
Good evening, Evil. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the home of British Motorsport here today in Silverstone, where we've only got 4 more rounds left of this season. Time flies when you're having fun, and it's built on the site of a World War II airfield called RAF Silverstone, and it was the first race of the Formula 1 Championship, but is hosting the 7th round of the GT3 Championship here today. And this is a track where pretty much both of us know and enjoy the corners off by heart, and it should provide some really good racing.
Yeah, this variant of the circuit first introduced in 2010. What is what we always call it, the old bridge section, because they removed the bridge, which is the best corner, the best version of the circuit, the bridge version. Some might disagree, but I prefer it especially. So this circuit, of course, hosts a variety of motorsport events. Of course, you've got your user Formula 1, MotoGP, of course. You've got WEC come here, did come here, I think they still do. Blancpain, of course, used to be called Blancpain, GT World Challenge, now as well. Rico used to come here back in the old days as well, 24 Hours of Silverstone. Brilliant race, of course, indeed. We saw Top Gear race there, and I think they won their class. It was always interesting after they blew each other up and took out a very quick car. Nonetheless, though, hopefully we don't see any people getting taken out today. But Jess, I'm wondering, who's done a hot lap?
Well, doing the hot lap this week is Ethan, also known as S16 Whitetree, as he takes you on board on a lap around Silverstone. So I hope you enjoy it before we get straight to qualifying.
Hello, my name is S16 Whitetree, and I'm going to give you a lap guide of the Silverstone circuit. So Silverstone is a track I've been to a lot. It's probably my favourite circuit in the entire United Kingdom, and I thought I've got to give this circuit a lap guide, so that's exactly what I'm doing. So coming down the International Straight alongside the Silverstone Wing, a very, very pretty building. Now we're going into Abbey. It's a quick flick to the right. Usually it was a slow left, but it's a quick flick to the right now, followed up by Farm, long left-hander. Now into the loop section. I like to brake early, coast the car into the corner, not using the brakes too hard there because it can really overheat them. Now into the final section of the loop, slowest corner on the circuit that, and powering out into Aintree here, trying to use all the curb on the inside without getting an invalidated lap. Obviously trying to minimise the amount of distance we're going through the corner to get those extra few tenths of a second. Now through down the Wellington straight into Brooklyn. It's a very difficult corner this because you can take multiple lines in here. You can take a wide entry in, carry a bit more speed in, or you can brake a lot earlier, tighten up the trajectory of the corner so you're powering out. That was through Luffield there onto Woodcote. Now we're going on to the original start finish straight here. Back in the old days of Formula 1, obviously now they use the other straight. Going towards Cops here, this is a very difficult corner this, braking early, slowing fast out corner this. That principle really works in this corner, making sure we don't touch that curb on the left hand side too much because it can really rotate the car around. Now Magnus and Beckett, we got to get this section completely correct, as one little mistake here compromises the entire section and it's just going to compromise your entire lap really. So we've made that entire section pretty decent there, could have done it better, but it was pretty good. Just to see, just flicking through the screens on the dashboard there, checking the temperatures. Silverstone, pretty hot track temperatures, 43 degrees C, so qualifying might be a bit slow. Into the braking zone for Stowe. It's uphill braking zone, so you can brake just a tad later, so you can gain a little bit more time downhill into Vale. Once again, another crucial braking zone. Going to brake a tad too late, going to end up missing the apex just a little bit, and the Porsche very cumbersome in the slow corners. Obviously doesn't like the hot temperatures either. through the final corner, and that is a lap guide of Silverstone.
So that was a lap around Silverstone, commentated and driven by Ethan. But before we go to qualifying, let's have a look at our championship standings. Really, we think the two drivers that are still going to be in with this hunt for the championship this season has got to be the two teammates, Tinus and Jazzman. Tinus won his third race in a row last week around Zolder, which was a really good track. He won 2 of the races around Zolder. Jazzman getting 2 P2s around that last week. So the gap's around about 8 points. So expect that to be close for the rest of the season. Big Kid Daddy's jumped back up into 3rd place after Ethan's DNF last week from one of the races. But Ethan's coming back in 4th. We got Vetro getting his first podium last week in 5th. Darren Sinclair in 6th. Chicano in 7th. Pren in 8th place with 106 points. 9th is Every Person with 104 points. And 10th place is Davies Out with 90 points. And we got Slicker in 11th with 83 points. 12th is Essa Racing with 76 points. I do believe he's back this week. Yes, he is. That's good news. 13th place is Overtaker with 64 points. Zout is 14th with 40 points. And obviously Archill's not here yet. So he's on 0 points. So let's kick off with qualifying, Evil, as we got one person that's already set a lap, and I believe that was Chicano.
Yep, Chicano, first driver on the circuit to set a lap time. And he's currently 2:19, which is not a quick lap, by the way, we might say. We're expecting these times to be around about 2:02s, maybe 2:01s, depending on some of the drivers. Well, let's find out, because here comes Tinnis. He's just coming through the club chicane, down the exit, and then up into the Vale little corner. Tricky little corner, this one, Vale. Easy to launch the car on certain games. On Project Cars, it's flat. We should be seeing about 2:01, I reckon, potentially, coming up. 1:59.0,
Wow.
Okay. A little bit quicker than I was expecting, of course. For some reason, remember, I've been playing a lot of ACC recently. By the way, sign-ups are closed, by the way. They finished the first 2 rounds. So don't forget, if you do want to join it, just reserves, I believe you can sign up to that one as well. Of course, no commentary for on the PS4 side, because the game's not working for the broadcast mode, which is a shame. But it means you've got Project Cars, which has got the best broadcast mode I've ever seen. Unfortunately, it's only on this game. Oh dear, there's Davies Out going off into... Is that Brooklands? It is Brooklands. Now, how's he done that?
I don't know.
On the curb, you reckon?
He might clip the curb, yeah. And that is easy to lose it there, actually. So, yeah, that's his tyres pretty much messed up. So he's probably going to go into the pits now, which he does as well. And Pren is also out on the lap as well. And we also see we see a Lambo actually behind him. I believe that was Tinnis. And we got Jazzman and Big Kid Daddy on a lap too. All in closer proximity, I must say. And I've got to say, there's been a mixture of feelings in the chat about the conditions. It is known to be a lot slippery on this game. The conditions have been, well, they try to make the conditions easier, but it's still quite slippery for some of the drivers. So they've got to get used to it, really. And at least they had practice to get used to it. But it is technically it's 40 laps, and I think it's around about 80 minutes, give or take, I think. So time to get a feel with it, and there's plenty of time. Oh, and Slicker almost did the same thing as what Davies did, but luckily he didn't there.
Yeah, don't want to be losing it into Cop's Corner. Well, one of the fastest corners on the circuit in some cars, and the GT3 car, to be fair, I think the fastest corner might actually be Maggot, actually. I'll have to check that one, but there's definitely quite a lot of fast circuits down here. Quite a lot of speedy ones. Yeah, definitely Maggots would be the fastest corner, because you take it pretty much flat at the first section in GT3 car, then you break down into Brooklands, and then of course, Brooklands into Beckett. I'm getting my merger mixed up today. Nonetheless, though, still my favourite Ferrari livery, apart from it being red. Talking about being red, Chicano's currently in 4th. He's doing a very good job, but so far, Jazz, Tinnis, and Jazzman and Big Kid Daddy, all in the top 3, all in the Lamborghini. Let's see Big Kid Daddy. Let's see, can he get himself within a second today? He's been incredibly impressive so far this season. Goes 8/10 off pole position time. Look at the gap behind, by the way. There comes Jazzman across the line. He stays in P1. Tinnis in P2. Slicker, by the way, an incredible qualifying from him as he decides he's had enough of that lap and decides he wants to go drive around the old circuit. I don't blame you, my friend. Ferrari looking very good here today. Lamborghini looking incredible right now. We are rating, however, for the Porsche, talking of which, it crosses the line now and goes 4th.
Yeah, His lap time was a 2 minute. He needs to try and get into the 1:59
Oi.
really if he wants it. And someone's gone off as well.
That's Ethan. That is Ethan off into turn number 1. Rear end stepped out. That is what's going to be happening in qualifying. No rear grip outlet. And unfortunately, it's a circuit really, not the conditions. The conditions are really actually okay, to be fair. They're what you would imagine you'd see roughly in a real life race around here. But unfortunately, the circuit is just a little bit ungrippy, however. So that's a real shame, but there we go. Big Kid Daddy still in third, though. It's incredible performance. He's one of the most consistent drivers in qualifying. He always seems to qualify either third, fourth, or fifth. So he's definitely probably one of, if not the best consistent qualifier, apart from the top two, who have rather qualified up there every single time. But to be fair, those two are on a different level, so half the time. They are incredible quick. However, they can be beaten. We saw that before. Vetro almost won last weekend. Well, so we say last Wednesday, might we say, in that case. Overtaker as well. He's a driver who's had one victory this season so far. He won it in Kota. Hasn't really, however, had the best of luck the remaining season. He's quick, but unfortunately, just seems to be lacking that little bit of consistency where just going to catch him out in these types of races. But let's see, Ferrari looks good here today because remember, they're 5th, 6th, and 7th, and then comes the Porsche of Esther in 8th, Darren Sinclair in 9th, and the aforementioned beautiful Audi. Behind him is the Ferrari of Pren. He's down there in 10th position. Davey's out in the Bentley 11th. Zat 101 in the aforementioned Black Falcon Mercedes, which is blue for some reason. Black Falcon Blue Mercedes, I'm now going to call this. We'll call it the Blue Falcon. Then comes the good old Papaya every person McLaren, and at the back is Vectro, who's just going to cross the line. Now, let's see. Should be aiming potentially for around about 8th position. I really expect Vectro to be aiming for around 8th position. Let's see where he goes. So far, and his lap time was, I believe, an out lap. So nonetheless, on that one, top 2, by the way, 1/10 separated, yes, and that is incredible. Number 63, and whatever Tinnis's number is, it is the number. I'm presuming it's 62 or 64. Is it?
666.
It's 666, and it's going round. No, he's caught up.
That was Vectro's old number, so...
Yeah, and now he's 42.
Yeah, so... Yeah, they're nice to see what numbers... well, I don't think they have custom numbers on this game, something that I kind of wish they had.
Yeah, because today getting a bit of a bump on there down into Abbey. The Abbey curve, very difficult, of course. You come over and there's a small bump, of course, there. Now, this circuit, well, the newer version of the circuit, you'd imagine it would be quite smooth and flat, but actually it's got a lot more elevation change around this area than quite a lot of the other circuit. I mean, the circuit itself is very flat. I mean, the tailwinds around here will be extreme, or the headwinds as well, might we say. However, this game, I do not believe, actually replicates headwinds and tailwinds, as there on the outside, that is Esther going out the way of Big Kid Daddy, currently P3. 9/10 off of 2nd, by the way, but 9/10 are pretty much ahead of 4th, give or take a few temps.
I think the Lambos are definitely the class of the field. I think they're showing that they're going to be the fastest cars on the grid today. So we've got 3 Lambos, P1, 2 and 3. Then we've got a Porsche in P4. Then we've got Ferrari in P5 and 6. We've got another Ferrari in 7th. Porsche 8th. 9th, Darren Sinclair. Is that an Audi? Yeah, Audi, yeah. 10th is Mercedes. Zout, 11. Ferrari. Then we've got Bentley, McLaren, then Porsche. So, yeah.
There we go.
I got it right eventually, Evil.
Indeed. Well, let's see. Vectro in the old Porsche Warsky then. The good old number 17, of course. Always a number, especially motorsport fans will keep in their heart after the late passing of Gil Bianchi a couple of years ago. But let's see, Vectro. Let's see where he can go. He's currently 14th on the grid. Still 14th. No, he's 13th. He's improved up to 13th position. Every person, let's see. He's going to go, I'm not going to qualify last. I want to start ahead of you, my friend. Let's go and start a little rebellion. Let's see. Every person through the last corner. Number 6, McLaren. Going to get himself up a little bit higher up. McLaren should be pretty good around here. 6/10 up on his lap time. 1 minute 1.9. Puts him about a couple of thousand, about 45 thousandths behind Darren Sinclair in the Audi. There's a crossing line. Where can he go so far? Currently 9th. Would really like him to get himself in that top 7 potentially. Essa have been struggling this season. Ethan's got an invalid lap time for track limit somewhere on the circuit. As we're just right on board then. Board with Essa just for a few seconds then. Meanwhile, up front, we're looking at Tinnis and Jazzman. They're currently going through Cops, and that is down into good old Chapel Curve. easy to lose the rear end on this one. Watch out going on that curb on the outside, because that will spit you hard off the road. It'll either fling you left or it'll fling you right. And I can tell you, hitting a wall on a wheel is not fun in some cars around this circuit. Nonetheless, down into Stone, up the rise. It's easy to break through here. Then the car's suddenly going to drop on the exit because your rise never crest. Then down the hill on the exit. That's why it's so easy to lose the rear end hit. Rise back up the hill towards the braking zone. Then it flattens. Then slightly downhill. A little bit of a dip down into the club chicane on the exit. Ride the ride. Ride the curbs. A little bit timey loss through the exit of that corner. We could have gained another 10th or 2. Cross the line and then see. Double up. Well, it didn't lose really a 10th or 2 because he's currently a little bit higher up. What about Jazzman though? He's currently coming through the last 2 corners, and so far for him, he's second position. Cross the line. Can he get himself back on that first position? Slightly more that pole. Can he go and get it? No,
Nope.
25 thousandths down in this lap time. Big Kid Daddy, meanwhile, improved. He's now under half a second off. Ethan, he is 1.6 seconds off of pole position, 1.2 off of Big Kid Daddy. Lamborghini's absolutely flying around here in Silverstone. And we fear, potentially, I mean, we know the Lamborghini's a strong car in most of the circuits. It probably is right now the best car, if not without the Mercedes, of course. But if you want to drive the Mercedes, you need to really have the best setup. And you really just need to be hooking up every time. The Lamborghini, clearly, right now, seeming to be the more easiest car this season of the field. Even though, for the last corner, can he improve his lap time? I'm going to be kind of aiming around Big Kid Daddy's pace. As he improved, not on that lap time. Chicago still in 5th position. We've got Overtaker in 6th position. Those two doing an okay job right now. Friends in 7th. Every person now up to 8th position. Slicker's been debunked down into 9th with Essa in a fine fettled 10th right now. Darren Sinclair down in 11th position. The man who was running so well last week until he spun, or I cursed him if I'm not too mistaken.
I think you did curse him, Evil.
I think I cursed a few people. Davey Zout, meanwhile, the Zout brothers. Those two currently running in 12th and 13th position. Those two last week, I think, scored some decent points. And Vectro, last week's 3rd place man so far, really kind of disappointing himself down there in 14th, but he's a tough cookie. He'll pull through.
Yeah, I see most of these guys. You only got about 13 seconds left, so these guys haven't got long at all. But the top 2, crucially, they're in the pits. So we've got, really, Big Kid Daddy, Ethan, and maybe Overtaker a chance to improve to see if they can get pole position. Big Kid Daddy is going through the difficult complex now, and I think he's doing it okay as well. I do see one of the Porsches going on a final lap. That is Vetro as well. Vetro does not want to be last, I've got to say. But Big Kid Daddy, he's about 3 tenths down, so I don't think that's going to be enough for pole, sadly, unless he has a really good final sector. Vetro, I didn't see how much he was up or down in that second sector. Ethan, though, we'll see what he can do, see if he can get into the top 3 or maybe even top 2. No, Big Kid Daddy can't improve. He's in the pit lane, so the only people on the lap is Essa, Ethan, Overtaker, and Dan Sinclair and Vetro. Vetro will be the first person to cross the line, and it'll be interesting to see if he can get a better lap. His best qualifying has been a lot higher than he is at the moment, so he needs to get a move on here, but he wasn't feeling comfortable with the car recently, and he's still last. Ethan, does he improve on his time? Nope, he does not, and we just got Overtaker, I believe, to finish a lap. As, to be honest, I think if I was Overtaker, I would be really happy with my lap time at the moment, because that would put you in good stead for the race. But you're right in the middle of the pack as well, so it's going to be quite tricky for you, especially going through the turn 1 Abbey section. But going into Club and into Val now, Overtaker, this is his final chance to see if he can get his best qualifying of the season. He's got pole a few times, but that was in the reverse grid, so that doesn't count. But he comes across the line now, and he stays 6th, I believe.
Oh, I believe so, Jess. Well, let's go through your official order then. He does say 6th position. So, Tennis in the house is currently in pole position here today. 32,000, however, just ahead of his teammate. Those two incredibly close this afternoon's qualifying. Indeed, Big Daddy in 3rd, Rotary in 4th, Chicano in 5th, Overtaker 6th, Fred in 7th, every person in 8th, Slicker 9th, Davey Zout 10th, Esther 11th, Sinclair is 12th, Zout 13th, and Vectro lining up the rear in 14th position. And rather, he's going to be a little bit disappointed with that, but he wasn't too far off. It was only about 3 tenths, but 5 tenths off of everyone else, and he's over, what, a second odd behind his teammate? maybe a little bit more, to be fair. He's gonna be taking that on the chin, almost 2 seconds off his teammate. That's gonna really hurt a driver. Remember, 158 for your pole man as well, compared to down the field. 2 minutes, was what? Well, for nearly 3.5 seconds, give or take. Actually, pretty much 3.5 seconds off of pole. So that is going to be a tall order, and that's probably going to be slightly demoralising. But we've seen drivers pull through before from further gaps.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen people like Tinnis, who has pulled off a great performance last week in a reverse grid from last to first. So anything is possible around here with 43 laps worth of racing. This is kind of an equivalent as to what you would see in, the time of an F1 race. So this is going to be the same amount of endurance as what the F1 drivers are facing, except that it's going to be much slower cars, but a little bit more easier to handle for majority of these guys. So full grid apart from Archil, which is great to see. And a few people that weren't here last week needs to, I think, step it up a bit. Essa, I think, could see, a bit of an improvement. Let's hope Essa can show a bit of form. His best result was actually in the first race of the season, which I can't remember which one it was. Daytona, that was it, Daytona. So, yeah, you could show good form there. And he got P6s in the other American tracks, and then a P11, and that was it, and he DNF'd. So, yeah.
Last week, Jesse was celebrating his anniversary with his good old missus. So hopefully those two had a very good time indeed. In all the many different ways a happy couple can celebrate an anniversary like that one. Meanwhile, though, talking about happy anniversaries, top two, they're celebrating a nice happy anniversary themselves because they always seem to be together. They're like a married couple. Sometimes they have arguments and try and murder each other, Kota, for example. But other times they are far apart, but most of the times they're all together, hugging each other and putting each other on. Right now, some other drivers, like Ethan, he hasn't really got that teammate backing him up. 5 lights come on. Remember, though, wait those 5 seconds, and then we'll be underway here in Silverstone for your usual nice AOR rolling start. 3, 2, 1, and away we go then. All off formation that. Tinnis leads the field from Jasmine, then the top two, Biki Daddy, following in that beautiful third and the lovely bright yellow and green. Lamborghini, the number 92 then. Some might say Biki Daddy is the most consistent, definitely the most consistent driver this season. He's provided possibly some of the best racing I've seen from a driver. He's always there whenever there's an issue. He'll always just slot in. Sometimes he'll, for no fault of his own, remember, like, for example, Kota, where he tangled with Vettel, he came back onto the circuit and, of course, had contact with him. There's always a possibility, however, that when the positions are right, when the conditions are right, when there is not an incident around him, this man will always, certainly, fight for that third position because he's always so much quicker when he really is in that little swing of it. When he's got the momentum, he's going to be right up there. Remember, Jess, if these top two weren't there, Biki Daddy would be leading the championship right now as well.
Yeah, exactly. The gap between, apart from Tinnis and Jasmine, the gap between Biki Daddy and Ethan's only 5 points. So no matter what championship you do, the gap is going to be close anyway. So, Biki Daddy, I think, has been one of the stars of the season. His best result was in one of the American races this season, which was round number 5 of the season, P2. Long Beach, that was it, where it was quite difficult for the drivers to cope with, I've got to say, but Biki Daddy managed it anyway. And like we said, he was the one who stood by if people had any issues, and he took advantage of that. But for some of these guys, though, I think they've got to rely on themselves having the right skill, especially Jasmine. If Jasmine wants to win this championship, Jasmine has got to start getting more wins, because if there's a tie in the championship, it goes by how many wins you got. Jasmine has 2 wins, Tinnis has 5. So, yeah, that could be the deciding factor.
Well, it's always just proves, Jess, though, despite Tinnis having those more victories, how close they are on the champion just proves that. Of course, I believe Tinnis may have missed a race, if I'm not too mistaken.
No, Tinnis has attended every race.
Jasmine, of course, attended every race. It just shows you how Some races, they have a little bit of a mistake, and then they're all back together. Here we go then. 43 laps of Silverstone, emulating around about 250 kilometers, give or take, if I'm not too mistaken by my calculations. So, here we go then. Tinnis will have the inside line, Jasmine on the outside line, Abby, the right-hander, easy to make a mistake. We've seen it before. Are we going to see anyone going off the road? And we're underway here in Silverstone then. Good start from Tinnis. Horrible start from Jasmine, by the way. He's dropped 2 positions nearly already. Now on the inside, I think Rotary and Vicky Daddy going very close together. They will go through turn 1 then together. But it's Jasmine in 2nd position, but Tinnis up front. Ethan in 3rd, then comes Vicky Daddy, then down into the Veiled Chicane. Into the loop section. Chicano ahead of Overtaker. Davies out, an incredible start from him in the Bentley right now. He's battling away with the McLaren every person. Behind them there comes the Ferraris as those 2 touching wheels, then down into Aintree Corner. Behind them, Slicker rather dropping down the field as well. Further down, by the way, Friends had a shocking start at the start of this race. He's down there in 13th, Vectro up into 11th, so he's made an okay start as well. But crucially again, we've got Zat101. He's gone off down there somewhere because he's right down plumb. Last position, so potentially spinning in turn number 1. Doesn't look like any damage to him, but so far, Tinnis leads her way through there, down into Cobb's Corner for the first time. Followed swiftly by Jasmine. Then comes the rest of the field. Vicky Daddy, Ethan. Then comes Chicano. Then comes Slicker. Then comes Davies out, just cutting over every person then. He goes a little bit wide and off into the wall nearly there. He's going to hit it. He's going to get away with it. Just about that. Losing on the curves then. Down into the first corner. As they come now down towards the back of the circuit. Down towards the hangar straight. And everyone just taking it a little bit nice and tentative through here right now, I reckon. Through they come then. Tinnis still leads. Then comes Jasmine. Vicky Daddy following suit. Ethan not too far away. Then comes the first of 2 Ferraris, a Chicano and overtaking. Davies out with an incredible opening lap there up into 7th position. Vetro also likewise incredible in 8th. Behind him, Slicker, Essa, Darren Sinclair. Then comes Pren, who's having a look up the inside of the Audi. Can't do it without the inside from that far back. Behind them, every person in 13th and out down there in 14th position, Jess. But crucially, for Tinnis and for Jasmine, they've got away this time clean. Unlike, remember a couple of races ago, they sometimes had some contact and dropped back. This time, absolutely everyone in the top 5 really getting away absolutely perfectly.
I think the top 2 are just on a whole another level at the moment. 2 seconds separated between them and Big Kid Daddy, of course. And then we've got another second or 2 between Big Kid Daddy and Ethan. So really, the top 3 showing why the Lambos are the class of the field at the moment. And I've got to say though, every person's dropped back into 13th due to a spin, but I've got to say another person having a good race is Davies out in 7th in the Bentley. That's it, in the Bentley. I mean, the other race where we had a really good side show some prowess was in Bathurst as well, which was very tricky, and we thought the Bentley wouldn't do good here. He did, and he produced a very good battles. If he keeps this up, we could see some more battles from a car that we don't expect to be very quick, and at least he wants to have some fun. Davies out is about, I think, 1.1 second ahead behind Overtaker, so he doesn't have a lot of work to do to get past him.
Yeah, those 2, 1.2 seconds separating them right now. Ethan curring through Cobb's Corner. So far in 4th position. Leader starting to pull away though all of a sudden. 2.1 seconds already. The top 2 are pulled away. Incredible. The top 3 might we say actually pulling away. Incredible pace from those Lamborghinis. Chicano, he's got an overtaken behind him. He's got the Bentley behind him. Then comes Vector just sitting a little bit further back. Then becomes the battle between Slicker, Essa, Darren Sinclair and Fred. Behind them, every person's covered quite well, to be fair, from his spin. He's actually not further down the field than I expect when you spin around this circuit. You'd imagine he'll be quite far down, so he's got very lucky. He didn't end up hitting the wall. Meanwhile, actually, as well, Zat101 only 20 seconds down as well. Not too bad. Remember, however, these drivers, they will all need to stop for fuel at some point in this race because they will not be able to do the full distance. I think there's 39 laps of full tank of fuel around here. Give or take 1 or 2 litres, maybe laps potentially as well, depending on the car class. Meanwhile, though, Jazzman starting to pile on the press ever so slightly then to his teammate Tinnis. Last lap, 2:01 against a 2:04. So it looks like Jazzman right now has a little bit between his teeth right now. He wants to try and get on. He wants to try and press a lot harder. Now, the question is around here, Jazz, it's rather an open circuit, so you can make overtakes pretty much everywhere if you get the line. And the only place you reckon you won't make an overtake is probably into Macca's Beck's Chapel, because doing that, you will end up probably either going off the road or you're going to spear into your teammate and then torpedo them into the Armco barrier. We're down the field, though. A big gaggle of cars still battling together, Jess. That is pretty much from, what, Chicano down to, what, pretty much Esser. Maybe even, no, down to pretty much Pren over every person. So, loads gaggle of cars very close together, Jess. But it is a top 2 right now, starting to pull away from third, who's going to really be in a moment, a rather lonely race if he's not too careful.
Well, sometimes you got to have the lonely races to become consistent, and he's not going to get into trouble. So I think Big Kid Daddy would like that, but I know Big Kid Daddy would want to race or something. So hopefully you can try and catch up to him very soon. But look at the gap that Jazzman's trying to close in onto Tinnis. This could be a great battle for the lead. And I mean, I know they're only teammates, but they both still in the running for the Drivers' Championship. We know they got the Teams' Championship pretty much sealed right now. I don't think anyone else could beat it, but I think Jazzman's getting a very beautiful run towards the Hangar Straight, but I don't think he's that close to get a move at the moment, so he could get it on the next lap, I think, but he's eating into Tinnis's time lap after lap after lap, going into club in a second as well. Jazzman having a look there, but couldn't quite do it on this occasion. Well, to be honest, I think Jazzman is playing a little bit safe because you don't want to get involved with an accident with your teammate. And just look at how he's getting even closer now. 2 temps. He could be 1 temp in a minute going into Abbey, but not quite. So this could be very, very exciting. We're on lap 5 now of this race. We've also, I think, potentially got a battle between Esser and Pren happening as well, and Esser and Slicker too. But it's mainly Esser and Pren as well. That's the other battle going on track. Everyone else is having a lonely battle on the field at the moment, but they may get into other battles later on. Fingers crossed.
You say that to be fair, Jess, but they are really close together. Pretty much remember that battle from Chicano down to pretty much every person. They're all still together, but at the top 4 already started to streak away. Then in the background, you can just see that is the Ferrari of Chicano starting to pull away now, both the Ferraris from that Bentley. The Porsche of Vector now up to 8th position. He's on an incredible start, by the way. He's pulling away now from Slicker, Esser, Pren, Darren Sinclair. Every person starting to close up into the back of this. The McLaren looks like it's got some pace around here today. That's the crucial thing. In the background, you can just see the Mercedes of Zat 101. He's still a little bit further down. The question is, though, Jess, is really, I mean, you've got to be about 10th down in towards the Stowe corner. You're going to make a move. I mean, you're not going to do it any further back. Sometimes you can pull it from 2 tenths back. I really want to be about a 10th, a bit less than that, really. You want to be pretty much right up the rear end. You want to be trying to make a mistake. Looks like to me that Tinnis has definitely got more of a looser rear end around here because you can see him slowing. You can see the car bouncing around on the curves. So the position is, can he get himself within that time? But they can just see the gap though, just slightly opening up in the slipstream. Now it'll start closing up, but just appears that Tinnis maybe slightly less downforce on this circuit, slightly more running it, expecting him to be more near the front. So definitely slightly differing strategy between the 2 teammates right now. 2.6 seconds. That's about 7, nearly about, well, give or take 3 seconds after the next couple of laps. So that's starting to drop Big Kid Daddy. He's dropping Ethan. He's dropping Chicano. Meanwhile, oh no! What have I said? Is there a battle? Is he gone off the road? Oh, it's Ethan in the pit lane. Never mind. So I thought I just cursed him. He hasn't. I'll retract one curse from able today. It is Rotary going in the pit lane.
Curse has gone up in the air. There we go. Woo.
The curses does not live on today, but Big Kid Daddy's still running in 3rd. I thought for a second he went off the road when I said that. No, he hasn't. He's still sitting. That was Ethan in the pit though. Now we expect a few drivers might come in around this time as I try and figure out where my camera button is. There it is. It's over there. Hard to see sometimes on my screen because it's blue and it kind of mixes in with everything else. But nonetheless, those 2 drivers up front, Big Kid Daddy just sitting further down there behind as well. Chicano now up into 4th position. I wonder where Ethan's going to rejoin all this. He should reside probably just behind Zat 101. Indeed, he has done so. So that kind of gives a little bit of concern, actually. And the leaders probably noticed this and probably are going, you know what, I want to stay out a little bit longer because I don't want to be caught up behind too many cars. But then again, if you stay out longer and everyone else behind in this big trail of cars don't stop. Oh, there goes, is that Slicker? It is Slicker. Yep. Luckily, not getting collected. Into that is Luffield then, so dropping it through the exit of that one. Rear end stepping out on the curves, more just on the downshifts. Easy to do, remember. A rather open-ended corner. Rear end's always going to step out in that one, but he caught it just about that time. Ran up to the top 2 yet again though. 2 tenths of a second, the top 2. Right now, still battling together. Right now, still neck and neck. Behind the Big Kid Daddy, starting to drop back ever so more now. He's, what, 7 seconds, 8 seconds behind Jess in 6 laps. This is an incredible performance from these top two. And they're just really putting away. They're almost like the Mercedes of GT3 right now, but not the Mercedes because we had them before in this, of course, of Gazza and Byraxon, and we know how much they ran away with a lot of races. Those two, one of probably the best GT drivers I've seen come along in the PS4 side of things for a long, long time. Right now, no credit where credit's due. We still got Jasmine Tinnis. They are really taking over the mantle right now, the most dominant pairing in GT3 this season. Is it the car that's really made them all victorious? Who knows? Because, well, they've been staying at quite a lot of seasons right now, and they've definitely got used to that cars, like Big Daddy as well, in the other Lamborghini. Behind them as well, we've got Chicano. He's actually doing rather well. He's closing up slow to Big Daddy in the Ferrari, so those two starting to catch each other. That'd be interesting between Chicano and Big Daddy, two long-time friends as well. Pretty much everyone here is a friend, of course. Overtaker in 5th. He's doing a rather good job right now, actually, in the Ferrari. Davey's out ahead of Vector. He's got himself up to 7th after Ethan's picked. Remember, Ethan will be trying to come through the field pretty quickly. Where he is right now, he's behind the Mercedes of Zat 101. Probably wants to be getting ahead of Zat 101 pretty quickly. Remember last week, these two had a little coming together, so Ethan's probably a little bit wary of that one. He'll be definitely playing the strategic game. Doesn't want to get himself caught up in any unnecessary incident this week, which of course would not be his fault. Well, to be fair, no one really at fault because someone's gone off somewhere.
That was Davies out in the gravel a little bit there, but he's come back on the circuit, so that's all good.
Yeah, I just saw it then for a second. Someone did go off. I think I've been Fren actually went a little bit one. It's a bit hard to see, but someone definitely was stopped ever so slightly. So something I think it might have been Fren because he's dropped down a little bit. That
might have been something I missed, so I do apologise about that. But I did see someone go in the gravel, but it wasn't Davey. Okay, he was just losing a bit of time, I'm guessing. But yeah, Davey's still running where he is at the moment in 6th place. I've got to say, Vector being the biggest gainer, as well as Davey's out. Every person not having a bad race either. Essa and Ape as well, but the biggest loser has got to be Pren down in 12th place.
Yeah, Pren, even Zat 101. Rather disappointing right now. He's waiting for Ethan to start coming through the field in the Porsche. He should relatively be trying to get quite easy moves right now. He wants to be really want to be getting ahead of these cars. I imagine he doesn't get caught up too much behind him because the tyres will overheat. The car will lose temperature. Remember, the engine performance in this car, we expect it's going to be very worn at the end of this race. Potentially up in about the 15s, give or take a couple of them. But let's see. Sitting right behind Zat 101. Should be trying to make a move. I reckon he might get it down into Aintree then. Potentially down into the loop, depending how his momentum comes there. He's going to have a little look down into turn number 1 into Abbey, and you get him straight through then. So it didn't look like Zat 101 would have put up too much of a fight down there as Ethan runs a little bit wide, but he should get away with that one absolutely scot-free. Meanwhile, the battle between the other two Porsches, that is of Vettori and Essa, those two together yet again. First time for a while I've seen Vettori and Essa relatively close together, apart from the first race where they were separated by 42 hundredths of a second.
Wow.
Remember, after Vettori got himself a penalty. However, Essa been struggling a little bit this season and not had the best of times, but he's on his way back. He's starting to get more comfortable with the car. He's getting more used to driving in a Porsche, which it has been rather a handful, to be fair, this season. It's not been the most jolliest car, we can say, but it's definitely on its day in the right setup, in the right hand. One of the best cars in this season. Darren Sinclair, meanwhile, he's stuck behind every person who's rather made a recovery job, Jess, hasn't he?
Yeah, I've got to say, this McLaren is doing a pretty good job around here. I think maybe because it's a British car. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Maybe he's had a lot of practice. Who knows? But he's having some great battles as well, and he could be a threat in this race, every person. So watch out as he closes in at the moment. I do believe Ethan did get passes out, which he did, which I think is a relief for him. No damage there, as he is the next victim will be Pren down in 12th place. But 3 tenths still separates the gap between Jazzman and Tinner. So I think at the moment these two, they're going to be quite happy running 1 and 2 at the moment without any, without any problem really. But there is a danger sometimes if you keep running and having a battle, which is a 3 tenths, 2 tenths down the road, there's going to be people behind catching up to you. But looks like Big Kid Daddy's not doing that, so these two could just run in the same pace for the majority of the laps and not have a problem with it. Meanwhile, Slicker, he goes in the pits for his
10
stop.
second time penalty, Jess, for spinning in the pit lane as well. So a little bit naughty there, sped too much. Overtaker rule, so I believe that's a 2 second time penalty, 1 second time penalty for track limit infringement. So presumably that would have been induced, I imagine, probably wide down into the bottom of the circuit, Vale Club area, because really that's the only place you're going to get a penalty in. Of course, it came in around about the loop, so putting 1 and 1 together, you can only give himself that answer. Slicker rejoins in 14th position, a long way behind, remember, the likes of Ethan, where he was. Ethan rather running himself not too shabby right now. He's in a pretty good position, all things considered. I think he is running around about net 4th, 5th position. We'll have to wait and see. Meanwhile, these two, again, they're still close together. They're going to battle together. And this time, it's the closest it's been for quite a long time, actually. Down in towards the Stowe corner. Let's see, is Jasmine going to have a little lunge up the inside from this far back? It'll be brave to do one down the inside here on his teammate. Thinks better of it. Both break at the same time. Really want to be just kind of pulling out. You want to be just alongside him down here. The best position, actually, if you want to get past, might even be down the inside into club. But of course, 2 turns back, you're not going to pull off a move in a GT3 car from that far back. In some other categories, definitely you might be able to, with a lot more speed and downforce. These cars, a lot less downforce, a lot slippier, remember, as well. So it's easy to lock up and then just go straight into the rear end of another car. Definitely, we don't be doing that, especially if your teammate. Remember, these two leading now 9 seconds ahead of 3rd position of Big Kid Daddy. Further back, we've got Chicano. He's starting to drop back a little bit more now right now. Last lap, 2 minute 2.619. Let's see if it improves 2 minute 3, even slower to be fair. He's dropping back in towards Overtaker, who's setting even slower lap time of a 2 minute 5 to be fair. Meaning he's dropping back into Davey Zhao, who sets himself at 2 minute 3. Vectro, 2 minute 3.5 as well, starting to pile on the press a little bit against his fellow rival in the other car. That is the Bentley. Just ahead. Dennis, a time penalty of presumably 1 or 2 seconds.
Yep, that's why I said, oh. Sorry about that.
Indeed, 1 second. Vectro thinking about a move up the inside into the loop. Won't be doing it there, though. It's a little bit optimistic to drive up the inside there. Now, the Porsche is a quick car in a straight line. The Bentley is also a quick car in a straight line, however. Behind them, but is also a very quick other Porsche. Let's see Vector having a look up the inside in towards Brooklands and Luffield. Let's see up the inside. Should just be able to cover that one off then. Let's see around the outside, though. There goes the Bentley. Around the outside, can you do it? I think Vector's got that one ready to be covered the inside through that corner. So Vector, late braking manoeuvre, passes the Bentley. Rather a textbook manoeuvre, you might say that. It's an open-ended corner because you can make a move down there. Is the Bentley going to try and lunge on back up the inside towards Cobbs? A bit brave of that one if he wants to do so. Vector a little bit wide, however. So might allow the Bentley to try and come back through. But really the opportunity is now going to be down towards the first real major braking zone after this one. That is down into Stowe. And we know the Bentley is quick around here. You can see him getting right up behind. Never mind.
Oh, that was...
hello, Essa. And there he goes. And, well, he won't be going through. He won't be going fast. We know he's fast. And we're rather losing the rear end through that one. And he won't be getting through on the exit of that corner. Well, that's a real little shame for Davey Zapp, who's running a very good 7th position right now.
It's curse evil. I think I take the share of the blame for that as well. So,
he's now running down in 13th.
Yeah, and Essa did well to try and avoid that. He waited, I think, a good amount of time, I've got to say. So, good sportsmanship from Essa Racing there as well. To be honest, he slowed down in plenty of time, and that could have been a nasty shot if he kept going at the similar speed he was in. So, should be interesting to see how we can recover and how Davey Zell can recover as well in 12th place. But was that? Did he get any damage from that, Davey Zell, or was it just a spin?
I wouldn't got any damage from that one. I highly doubt it. He's just ahead of his brother right now. The other's out. So the two Dutchies running down there in 12th and 13th. But that really was more of the wake of the car in front. Slightly unsettling him, I reckon. Maybe a little bit too much curve. Maybe a little bit too much turning. But lost the rear. Went him straight around. So not a lot he can do. But very lucky, to be fair. Like you said, Jazz, didn't get caught up with Essa. Because Essa really And that was good good timing for him. He also had a bit of a gap behind him, but this was really just allowed Vettel just to pull ever so slightly ahead right now. He's got himself, what, 3-second buffer right now, so he's got a little bit of time. He can just relax a little bit, but ahead of him is like, what, 8-second gap? There, an 8-second gap. Ahead of Overtaker is what, 2-second gap, then an 8-second gap, and then a 9-second gap, and then a 3/10th gap, because top two are still very close together and having the little ding-donger of a battle right now. And I'm wondering, Jess, is anyone going to try and do the undercut right now? Or do you reckon they're going to stay out until really everyone else comes in the pit lane, then do it late, so they don't get caught up in traffic, you reckon?
Well, Tinnis did the right thing in Bathurst, remember, where he stayed out for an incredibly long time compared to his rivals, and that's what helped him win the race in Bathurst there. So maybe he's going to deploy the same strategy as he did there and try and do it in Silverstone. I wouldn't be surprised if he does that. So I think Tinnis, yeah, definitely. He's got to, I think, due to that penalty. Jazzman, I think he may do the opposite to his teammate, so he doesn't get...
Oh, hang on a minute, Jess. They're battling together here, I think, down there. Sorry. Starting to battle again. I think Jazzman really wants to get that move on there. They were about under a 10 separated then.
Wow.
And those two almost coming to blows down into what that is the loop section, but they just get away with it. But back to you, as now they've suddenly decided they don't want to battle again for the time being.
Oh, typical. As soon as Evil tries to hype it up, they stop battling each other again, and probably Evil's going to hype things up and they're going to start battling again. So yeah, fingers crossed about that. But yeah, Jazzman, I think, might do the opposite to his teammate. I think Jazzman will probably pit first to try and cover off Tinnis, but then Tinnis will stay out as long as he can. I think Big Kid Daddy is going to be the one that stays out for long too as well. But the others, it's quite hard to predict where they're going to fit in the equation. So really, it depends on if they get stuck in traffic. That's going to be the main issue.
Now, Jazz. Oh, Tinnis has lost it! He's lost it! He's out of control. Has he caught it? He has caught it. How's he done that? Well, boy, oh boy, they're still side by side on the exit, but somehow they don't come to blows. But Jazzman and Tinnis, I think Jazzman now surely has the line there. Now, no, he hasn't. Somehow he backs off with a move. So those two somehow don't come to blows. But Tinnis, on the limit, on the ragged edge, losing the rear end, caught it. And I told you, Jess, that it looked like Tinnis was struggling on the rear end, and Jazzman seems to be more comfortable with it. Is Jazzman having a look up the inside? Oh, they hit each other again. They banged. They have banged. And Jazzman through the lead. Now, we saw this aggressive driving last week. And now they've hit each other again. I think Jazzman and Tinnis. I think Tinnis turned out on that one there. Because Jazzman diving down the inside, late on the brakes. He rather is a nice aggressive driver today. He's really pushing it this time. And I think... there is going to be no love lost between those two ones. I hope they don't collide again, remember. Now, the question is, Tinnis, is he going to try and get back through? I reckon Tinnis wants this lead back, you know.
I think so too as well, but I think Jazzman, I think there is times that obviously Jazzman may have some issues with his internet due to the fact that he is elsewhere in the world compared to everybody else, majority in Europe, of course. So sometimes that could happen, but yeah, I think there was no harm lost really. I think it was just a little bit of a love tap there as well, but yeah, I don't know how Tinnis managed to control that car, because I thought he would have gone off. A normal person would have probably binned it if you were in the lower tier, of course, but Tinnis, fair play, my friend, but you know, he's probably feeling a bit guilty that he's lost this lead now, and he's very hungry to get it back. And Jazzman, he's going to concentrate on getting the lead pretty much his. Even if he stays ahead of him by a few tenths, he's still got this win anyway, because we're behind by a few tenths, because don't forget that penalty from Tinnis. Jazzman doesn't have any, so maybe Tinnis could pressure Jazzman to getting a penalty. Probably not though, because they're teammates and they want to stay 1 and 2, because you never know where Big Kid Daddy will come from, and Chicano potentially as well. Maybe Tinnis may forget his overcut strategy and might try for the undercut, but we'll have to find out as the race goes on. Every person, no doubt, up down in 8th place. There we go, prancing Ethan, making his way through the grid. He got past Dan Sinclair, now it's every person. He's got to try and get past now.
Yeah, he's on his move right now. Vetcho's still lining himself up in 6th position in the other Porsche, and he's still yet to stop, remember? And just behind them, you can see Ethan, he's actually catching up to his teammate already, so really incredible pace. But going back to that incident, it's actually almost the same thing, Jess, but he was ahead this time rather than behind. Now remember, Davey Zout also had the same mistake, same dropping it on the exit of, that pretty much Brooklyn's out, into Beckett's. So, proving that corner to be rather difficult right now around this circuit. Low grip around that. Now, remember, Tennessee's only 8 turns back. Jazzman rather looks like he was rather being a little bit, what's the word? Conservative on his pace, because look, he's starting to pull away now from his teammate, Tinner, so he doesn't seem to have much to match him this very second, but we'll find out, of course, if he can start closing up as this race goes on.
Yeah, that should be interesting to see, as meanwhile, we got another pitter of Dan Sinclair in 10th place, now in 11th as he goes in for his mandatory stop. I think everyone's going to be putting in fuel when they go in. The question is when. Meanwhile, I think the question is really, it's mainly when he's going to do it, not if he's going to do it for Ethan, but you never know. Every person can hold his own around here, and he may be liking having a battle with some of the top guys, so he's going to relish in it as long as he possibly can as he goes past the Wellington Straight.
Now we're down through entry, down the Wellington Straight, underneath the old sign, right now his massive shunt here. Let's see, is he even going to dive down the inside here?
No.
Thinks better, Robert, a little bit too far back. We saw Vetra doing a very similar move earlier on in this murder race and pulling it off, and they can see, try and do the old switcheroo and straight through. They're like taking candy from a baby, to be fair, right there. Rotary, a little bit more comfortable in the Porsche. The McLaren rather struggling in the rear end there. That was almost the old switcheroo, you might say. We took the outside, went to the inside, every person a little bit too deep into Brooklands, and that is rather put himself down there. That now means 3 Porsches, the old 3 Porsche-roos, are now in a nice long line together. That is Vetro so far in 6th, Esser in 7th, Ethan now in 8th. Remember, Ethan has had that added pit stop, remember, so he's already got that out of the way.
It's
So
just like the 3 Lambos in 1, 2, 3
end.
at the moment, except we've got the Porsches 7, 8, 9th. So there we go.
And the Ferraris 4th and 5th.
Yeah, and
not 6th.
actually, no, with 6, 7, and 8. Sorry, not 7, 8, 9. Every person's not a Porsche. He's a McLaren. Sorry about that, guys.
Not every person. So far, he's not doing too far back. He's not dropping quite all the time. And Ethan rather, he's a man on the mission right now. And I don't think Esser might not put up too much of a fight. I hope he does. I would like to see drivers fighting. But really, I mean, you're on a different strategy right now. Ethan probably knows this more than anyone. He will get past, if he gets past Esser, Vetra will get probably out of the way or will pit quite early just to get himself right out of the way, because those two will work together. So team orders will come into force between those two. Up front though, 1.6 seconds between the top 2 right now, and it's Jazzman now starting to pull away from his teammate Tinnis. Big Daddy, by the way, keep an eye on him. He's still in 3rd, and Rava is feeling a little bit lonely right now, because nearest car to him is 14. So, well, actually, nearest car to him is actually Tinnis, because behind him is Chicano. He's 14 seconds back. Behind that is Esser. And then Vector, he's just got that 2 second get buffer to Esser right now. Then comes Ethan in the other Porsche. Both of those 3 pretty much running near or not line of stern, give or take a few attempts. I'm pretty certain they're almost a second between each other all. 2 seconds between Esser and Vector, and 1 second between Esser and Ethan right now. Behind them, every person starting to drop back from this battle right now as which we now go to the outboard camera. Friend in the other Ferrari after his mistake earlier on, down there in 10th, Zout in 11th. Davey Zout is now in 12th. He's behind his teammate. Darren Sinclair, who has made that added stop earlier on, is ahead of his fellow rival Slicker with that 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah, the pit lane is quite short, I've got to say, around here. I've noticed that when I was playing ACC and obviously F1 as well. It's just hard to just slow your car down in time. So something to watch out for. You got to judge your speed early on, buddy. You got to commit when you're going to pit, because if you don't, then that's going to cause a 10-second penalty like Slicker has done. So that's probably why Slicker has made that mistake heading towards that pit lane. But when will everybody else pit? That's what I would like to know. Most of these guys are probably going to be leaving it late. But Ethan is starting to close in onto the onto Esser right now as well. Zhao in 11th place. He's doing, to be honest, for our standards, he's doing not too bad in 11th place. I think he'll be happy with that.
I reckon he very much will be. He's running a very good position. Meanwhile, Ethan is sniffing all over the rear end of her. So he's like a dog. He's sniffing the rear of her. Essa going, I wonder what I can do here. Can I claim this territory? Well, I think Ethan probably will claim this territory pretty well, but I like what dogs do when they want to claim territory. He's going to let him through. Yeah, lets him through. Doesn't want to fight it. I thought that might happen because different strategy, and the faster the light saying, thank you very much, my fellow friend. The Porsches are working together, it looks like, right now. And you know what? I think Essa knew more than anything right now that he wasn't really going to be in that battle, and I think he wants to just get on with it.
Yeah, exactly. Not cause too many incidents. You gotta know you're on battles at times as well. But it would have been nice for Essa to challenge. But at least he may have a battle with every person. So at least he could challenge that and fight for glory there as well. Because that will be amazing to see, won't it, as well. And as you can see, you can tell how long, how much tank of fuel these guys have got left to deal with for the rest of this race. And how much tyre temperature they've got to manage as well. It's getting quite hot at the moment around Silverstone. I can't remember what time of the year it is. I believe it's summer. Yeah, it is summer actually, June time on the game. So yeah, it's quite hot around here.
Indeed, going through the field, Chicane 77 litres in that tank. The Ferrari, rather a lot of fuel to be fair, as both the Ferraris and Lamborghinis running quite low, 66 litres. Vetro 72, Ethan of course he's pitted, he's running 84 litres. You know, the Ferrari might actually have a chance of doing the entire race distance here. Well, it'll be very interesting to see if they have to do any fuel saving. I think they still have to do a mandatory stop, but maybe not even put maybe a litre or two of fuel. They might get away with it, so it could be interesting. 64, 81 for every person as well. He's, I believe, stopped potentially. I'm not quite certain. I'm not too sure if he's pitted or not. I can't remember. I think he hasn't actually. So a lot of fuel in the McLaren as well. So McLaren's got a sharp to in this race. The Bentley running a lot of fuel. Looks to me though, Jess, the Lamborghini's running a lot less fuel. They're running down in the 60s already, and well, they must be under fueling the car. Maybe they're comfortable they can maintain that place, but that might be the reason. Those
it could be the tank. It could be the tank. They can't hold enough fuel as much as the other cars potentially. So, whereas the Ferraris can hold a lot more, same as the Porsches. So, you know, that's something that the Lamborghinis have got to put in their mind. Excuse me, my voice was playing up a little bit there, but yeah.
Yeah, meanwhile, Ethan, he's got his teammate just up the road from him, and that is Vetro, and I expect the flash of the lights and him getting out of the way pretty quickly. Well, we won't be doing it in the next, we won't do it for this lap, but I expect he probably would get himself out of the way. Now, Ethan said there is no team orders in here. They are free to race. However, I think Vetro right now, he's more, and of course, I do, if he knows there's a car quicker behind him or ahead of, well, pretty much behind him, and it's his teammate, he's not battling him, he would let him through. I mean, it's a kind of a racing etiquette thing. I mean, you're a teammate, you're not going to hold each other up too much, and I reckon probably down into the corner. Ethan's getting rid of a penalty there, you can see that.
Yeah.
As it comes on the exit of the corner, as well, that gap suddenly shotted back.
Overtaker's got a penalty as well.
Yeah, overtaker. Let's have a little look through the penalties, actually. We got 1 second.
Oh, Tennis got another one.
Yeah, 2 seconds for Tennis, dropping back to Chicane with... sorry, not Chicane, Overtaker with a second penalty, and I think that is the only one apart from, of course, Slicker with that 1 second time penalty.
10-second penalty.
Yeah, they're rather struggling, and of course, lead up with the 2 seconds. Or second position with the 2 seconds. He's dropping back a little bit now from his teammate up front. He's rather running away with it a little bit. Will swing himself back down towards that 0 point mark, Justin. Well, these two like to be switching the lead in the championship, don't they?
Yeah, I think they've been changing the lead for pretty much majority of this season, so we could see potentially it happen. Maybe now we'll have to wait and see. It's 8 points separate between the top two now. It will probably swing. It will swing in Jazzman's favour if Jazzman wins tonight. So bring it on for the final 2 races. Meanwhile, Bren is looking very racy. So it's out as well. It's out spun. Yeah. Is he going to avoid the wall? Yeah. Oh, that was an awful shunt from Zout. His race has gone from good to bad, and what a shame. That is 2-1 for me, commentators' curses. Sorry.
Right. He flawed it on the grass, Jess. I mean, that was, I've got to say, a little bit of a clumsy mistake there. He got it on the grass, and it just appeared to me, from my perspective, and the telemetry, I'm not quite sure if he got it in time, but it just appeared he just flawed it on the grass, and that's the reason he spun. So That almost kind of was a self-inflicted accident, so unfortunate, but he'll recover. He's not too far back, though. I don't think that would have done too much damage to him. Meanwhile, every person is still battling away with Pren. Those two still together. Ethan now behind his teammate. Now, these two will probably switch around this time, and I reckon it'll be down this straight. I think flashing the lights potentially there. He's probably saying, I'm letting you through, so I expect he'll pull to the inside, and yep, straight through. Those two letting each other past again. The flash for lights will come from Ethan around about now, saying thank you very much. And away he goes then, onto his merry way. And pretty much textbook move there. Ethan's rather got a nice love from the Porsche family right now. They're all getting out of the way of him. They don't want to fight him, which is lovely for them. But to be fair, they're in a different race, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. They are a different race compared to the Lamborghinis, and I think the only Ferrari that's doing well at the moment is Chicano and Overtaker in 4th and 5th. So, you know, we've got a Lambo group, then a Ferrari group, and then we got a Porsche group, then we got a McLaren on his own, and we got a Ferrari on his own, and we've got a Bentley, a Mercedes, and an Audi. So, and obviously a Ferrari in last place, which is a bit of a shame there. Zout goes into the pit lane for his mandatory stop, or is it damage?
Damage and fuel, I reckon. So he's going to fuel up, get that damage repaired. That is going to drop him right away down the back of the field, and that is a real shame there. Meanwhile, Ethan started to pull away now from his fellow comrade of Vectro. Behind them, they've still got a battle here between every person and Pren. Is Pren going to have a little look down the inside into this corner? That's it. I think he's going to go defensive here. Now, what he'll do here, this is going to be clever, actually. This is pretty good defensive maneuvers here from every person. Force him to go to the outside because remember, the natural racing line on this circuit is more towards the inside around this circuit because really, you're not going to, unless you've got a massive amount of momentum to hang it around the outside into Lovefield, into Lovefield, you're not really going to be able to do it from there. I mean, you can in some scenarios, but it's a difficult thing to do to go around the outside into Brooklands.
Yeah, I can't do it on any games. I don't know how these drivers do it, but like we said, these drivers in these GT3 cars can overtake from absolutely anywhere except these corners that we're driving now, because otherwise you're going to probably clip the curb and go into a wall, into a gravel, similar to what we saw Zout do earlier on in the race. But yeah, Jazzman having a race of his own now, 4.1 seconds now. So yeah, unless Jazzman makes a mistake, unless Tinnis pulls a great pit stop, then I think it's the race win. Probably will go to Jazzman, but never say never. Anything can happen in GT3, and especially around the home of British Motorsport in Silverstone as Pren goes into the pits.
Yeah, Vetter and Pren both in the pit lane then, so they've both gone for the mandatory stop. We're on that 19 of 43. So now getting that out of the way. That now releases Essa into 7th position, and he'll run away with that one for a little bit right now. Wondering where Vetter's going to rejoin all of it. Let's see, should be... I think there is that. He's yet to stop, I believe. We've got Darren Sinclair, who has stopped, and we've got Slicker and Zat. So let's see if where they come out in this kind of gaggle of cars.
Slicker's stopped already.
They should be right at the end of the pit lane as Fred rejoins. Better rejoins as well, and that wall's a bit too close there. A little bit unsafe release, but I think the go system was just about on there. Where is Darren Sinclair and all these? He's way behind them. So Vetro rather got a little bit lucky right there and all of that. He's got a lot more fuel than Pren. Pren was rather close, and I think that was a little bit of an unsafe release, but again, because they had the ghosting system, so it should be all okay, of course, on this game. There will not be any infliction of penalties because the game will release them, not them. So it's the choice of the game. And alas, didn't get through that time, Pren. He won't be trying to get ahead of Vetri sooner or later. Now, the question is where is Essa going to rejoin in all of this after he stops? He should be around about this same position, I guess. And
yeah, I think so.
Proves just how rather lonely Ethan's going to be in this race for the next little while, isn't he?
Well, at least he's probably going to be all right with this until the end of the race, where he's going to be in a lot of traffic with more people pitting. So, but especially with potentially Chicane and Overtaker, I think are the two people to watch out for, really. I think the other three, I think right off at the moment. I think we got a battle for the podium, well, the top three, and then we got a battle for the best of the rest, which at the moment, Chicano is leading that battle at the moment. So Chicano could climb his way up in the driver's standings. That's what we would like to see as well. And I do believe Zout is now being lapped by a few cars now because he's almost he is actually a lap down at the moment, and he's struggling just a little bit, but hopefully he keeps going because I'd like to see all 14 cars finish this race.
Yeah, indeed, he definitely seems to be struggling. Meanwhile, Trent is trying to close up a little bit to Vettel right now after those two little alteration nearly in the pit lane. They got away with it about this time around. The number 17 ahead of the number, I think it's number 5063. The 5063, there we go. The number 563, I'm now going to call it, of good old Frenny running. He's so far running himself in that beautiful aforementioned Ferrari behind the, well, I'm just going to call it the big Beetle, because it is a Beetle, really. It's a Beetle with, it's been a bit squished and a bit stretched, but it's still very big. Nonetheless, Ferrari looking good around here. 4th, 5th, so we got 11th and 13th. Porsche running 6th. 7th and 10th. Lamborghini running 1, 2, and 3, and that is really the main 3 manufacturers that have got more than 3 cars respectively currently running in this field. Right now though, Friends trying to make a move on Vettel. Won't be doing it for around here, but like I said, best position really. Vettel around about a 10th, just under a 10th down and getting alongside here. You won't pull it off the inside into Cops Corner, so really the next opportunity will be down into Stowe, maybe even Club Corner. But it's going to be a hard one to pull off as well. But we've seen moves down here before, depending on the lines, depending if they're a mistake. But Vettel is a pretty good driver, Jess, and he really doesn't make too many mistakes around here, does he?
No, I mean, for Vettel, he just wants to make sure, as for a few other these guys have got to make sure that they just keep it on the track. And Vettel, here he goes, Prane getting a better run, I think, into the hangar straight then. Is he going to try and go for the move on Stowe? 1/10, I think it's the best gap to be in at the moment. Now goes to the right hand side, but Vettel covers him off there. He closed the door on him, says, "You're not having that position, it's mine," he says. And Prane has dropped back a little bit. So Prane is having to settle for 11th at the moment.
Yeah, Vettel, nice defending there from the dartsman. He knows where to place a car. He's seen it before. A little bit wide on the curve. That'll cost him a few tenths of a second, but I think he'll just get away with that one. Every person, will start to close up to Essa, so those two still battling together whilst we keep on board with this little scrap between the Ferrari and the Porsche. And so far, still the Porsche running himself in a nice, fine 10th position, but that Ferrari, little lunge up the inside, trying to unsettle the Porsche. Can't do it, Vettel. Wise old fox there. He got a podium last week, so I reckon he knows a few trick or two right now defending. And he defended well against Lamborghinis last week. Should be able to defend from a Ferrari, but I think now he'll have to cover the inside line. He'll have to go right left, so we'll have to force him. Now, Trent's going to have to do the dummy on him if he wants to do through. Vettel, he's not covering it. Well, Vettel rather sleeping there. He's going to try on the outside and just lose the position, so rather sleeping there from old Vettel then. I was expecting he might have tried to put a bit more of a fight there, so maybe been a bit more circumspect about trying to pass him, but alas, he's now behind him. We know the Ferrari's quick around there, so let's see. He try and make it through, is how he won't get through now, because that was a massive mistake. Now let's see, he's going to try up the inside here, backs off of it, does want to go and fly off into the Armco barrier, but it's kind of Vettel a little bit sleeping there, it looked like, from my perspective, Jess.
Yeah, he did there a little bit there. Well, I think Pren had the move covered, I think, pretty much early on. And Vettel, I think, was caught napping. So Vettel, he's got to get a move on and try and see if he can get the move like he done earlier on. Don't rest on your laurels if you're racing like this. Don't think just because you can get the move done on a previous corner, it doesn't mean you're going to keep it. I think that's what they've done. Essa is in the pits now for his mandatory stop. And he's probably going to take a bit of fuel to take him to the end of this race. Where would he come out of is going to be an interesting fought battle, I've got to say.
Those two we switched each other. I think they have. I think Pren might have got a time penalty there because he suddenly dropped back. Now I'm wondering is that Vettel, is he managed to get a slipstream down into Stowe and got back past him. Now where is Essa going to rejoin all this? Is he going to come out ahead? He's going to come out. It's going to be very close between these guys, you know. It's going to be, I think, yeah, he'll drop behind them. But not by much. He'll be very close to Darren Sinclair, actually, to be fair. This will be very close between these two. Exit of this. You'll just see the Porsche on the outside. Should be doing. And now, He's going to have to cover the inside line ever so slightly. He does do so. So S up, covering that one okay. Now let's see. Is the Audi going to try and lunge on up the inside here? No thinks better of it yet again. Drives being rather cautious, knowing exactly what to do and what not to do around here. Now Vetro, and now again, has another chance to go and defend. Now this time, let's see if he does a little bit more of a better job of defending. Let's see, is he going to be left sleeping again? Well, he's not going to get overtaken here because he's slightly ahead behind them. S are now ahead of Darren Sinclair. Still those two, Porsche and Audi, battling together like they did back in the old days at Le Mans a couple of years ago, 2016, 15, all those fond memories, especially from 2014 onwards, when, of course, Porsche re-entered the World Endurance Championship. This is GT Racing. They have had battles before in these types of classes. Definitely not in the GT, the top GT category of like GTE, of course. Ali, I do not believe I've ever had a GTE car or a car along those types of categories. Maybe in the aforementioned the later days of the old GT1 class, but I am not too certain about that one. Vectrolo now running himself in 9th position still, up the road by the way. Top two still separated by just over 5 seconds now between first and second. Third position now, Bicky Daddy dropping a little bit further back right now. He is 15 seconds of the race lead. Behind them, by the way, Chicano, who's in basically a different postcode compared to the top three, because he's, I believe, he's rather dropped back. Overtake as well. Rotary will be the next guy who was the first guy who's actually stopped out of the top group of cars. And he's running in 6th over a minute behind the race leader. Then comes every person. Davies out. Then comes Vetro. Frent. Then S up. Then comes Darren Sinclair. And those 4 have also now all stopped. And we'll be going to the end of this race.
Yeah, indeed, but for the ones that haven't pitted then they've just got to think into their strategy, when will be the best time. And if your teammates, you've got to be thinking a lot closely to when you're going to be pitting as well, because you may not want to be pitting at the same time. But Tinnis is doing what I thought he was going to do, is go on a different strategy for a long period of time. He doesn't have any, well, he has clear air now because he's got Jazzman that is 5 seconds down the road now, so he can do whatever he likes at the moment. But meanwhile, Bren and Vetro still having a nice battle. That is what we like to see, because it's been quiet around the field, apart from these two still battling, which it is, I just love it when these two battling like this, because it just goes to show that they're doing some good racing. Down Sinclair also battling with S2, so there's 2 battles happening on the circuit. Meanwhile, Bren was almost having a look there, couldn't quite do it.
Now too far back again, just want to be about a 10th, like we saw earlier on, where especially nearly Vetro had a move, but had to back off it, because Cop's Corner, in a Formula 1 car, you can make a move. In a GT3 car, you can make a move, but it's very ballsy. In an LMP2 car, you can make a move as well, but it kind of cascades down the slower the cars. It is, to be fair, it's more difficult to make a move down there, because remember, you're running a lot less downforce in a GT car than, for example, your LMP cars or your Formula 1 car that you got down as well. Let's see, now you're up down the inside. Again, trying to snap the rear end off there. You can see right on the rear bumper, but again, no way through down here. In fact, getting so close up, he had to check himself out a bit more, and he loses more time than he gains. Darren Sinclair are also trying to close up, but right now, these 3-4 drivers are battling together for the final real slots of the top 10, really. 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Incredible little battle going on behind them. 13th and 14th are way down the field. 1 minute 43. Actually, to be fair, actually, Slicker not too far back, actually, all things considered, compared to Limbs. That 101 is quite a far back, of course, after his mistake earlier on. As we go down the inside, that's going to be contact. It almost had to happen, and they just about avoided that time. Vetro rather opening the door up. Fred having a little dive in the Ferrari, and now Vetro this time, surely he's going to have to cover the inside line. He'll have to cover it because that Ferrari's coming over it. So he'll pull left now and he'll cover this inside line and he'll hug it like his best granny he wants to do it. And let's see, then Fred around the outside. Venture's going to have to be there on the brakes because that Ferrari might try and streak one around the outside. Now Venture's going to have to slightly cover it here. And indeed he does do so. A triple slab on the brakes for good measure. But good defending from Venture. Now this is what he should be doing earlier on before he got past again. So he's rather got lucky, by the way. The leaders, I think, are coming up to lap these guys. And first off, it's going to be Slicker, who's going to pull to the inside, I reckon. Now he'll stay to the outside here. and let them through. Let's see. Is the inside or is it going to be the outside here? It's a very awkward position to get through. Now, which way is he going to pull? Going to be to the inside then. So, backs off of that one.
He does it. For him now.
S up. Now starting to pull away a little bit. Right now, these guys are actually starting to converge each other. The last lap, 2-minute 3.8, 2-minute 3.2, 2-minute 3.3, 2-minute 3.5. So they're all very close together, Jess, in terms of outright pace.
Yeah, exactly. Vetro, I think Vetro's just pulling away a little bit, and I think there's going to be a danger that Esther could be catching up pretty soon, but he's hanging about with Darren anyway, so nothing to worry about there. But also the danger is we're going to have the leaders lapping all of these guys that are battling, and it's going to be a question on whether you want to continue that battling or you got to let them through, but at what cost for some of these drivers? You're going to lose a chunk of time, so I will be worried if I was the person chasing right now, because you're probably going to lose a chunk of time.
I reckon though, I reckon Jazzman Tennis right now, instead of trying to get through this battle of cars and getting caught up, I reckon their best bet probably would be either to stop and take on a bit of fuel. Now remember, you're leading this race, you're pretty much guaranteed the top three. They'll come out definitely the top three will come out ahead of fourth position, I believe, potentially, if the gap is all correct. So let's see. Again, meanwhile, Trent trying to have a look on Vettel. Again, he'll be far back on this lap. Likewise for Darren Sinclair. So everyone's still batting together, Jess. And right now, though, a little bit kind of a stalemate between some of the drivers. And apart from these kind of form, not a lot of action going on up the field.
Yeah, not much at the moment, but again, I think we're seeing less mistakes, I think, from some of these drivers, which is great to see. I think we've had a few mistakes, but I think people keeping it calm and collected right now as we get to the final stages of this race. I think due to the fact that it is an 80-minute race, they have got all the time in the world to make those moves. Some of them may have left it too late, but at least we're still seeing some action towards the end. Let us know in the chat who you're supporting, who you want to win, who you want to do well in this race. Who's been the biggest improver this race so far? Who do you think has stood out as well? If you want to say the leaders, I'm more than happy for you to say the leaders as well. We got the lovely Scold in the chat as well, which is great to see as well. We got Michael as well and Billy in the chat as well. So good to have you guys along with us. And yeah, should be good to see Darren. Oh, Darren a bit late on.
Oh, there goes a Ferrari going round. You just always catch him out. That is Pren. The second time he's done that around. I know he wants to be careful there, because there goes the Lamborghini coming through of Jazzman. And you know what? That's exactly almost what you didn't want to see happen there. Well, Pren spinning around, too much curb, I reckon, on the inside, getting a little bit unsettled again. Vector's getting rather lucky right now with cars behind him spinning as they try and overtake him. So, you know what? What's out Esther and what's out Darren Sinclair? Because Vector seems to have got a black hole near him, and he's just, instead of actually forcing things close, he's got the opposite of black hole. He repels things, so he's a neutral star, actually. So he's like repelling everything he sees. Whenever you get close to him, they end up going off the road. And if Vettel ends up spinning now, will be rather interesting, because
stop cursing everybody.
Let's hope that doesn't happen. Darren Sinclair, meanwhile, let's see. Is he going to have a little up and job the inside head? 2 turns back, a little bit too far back for this one. Though he's improving on his lap time. Last lap time, 2-minute 3.8, 2-minute 3.7, 2-minute 3.5 for Vetro. Vetro starting to open up the pace ever so slightly more. Up front, meanwhile, the race leader. He's just coming through the corner behind these guys, actually. That was nice, sitting nice and comfortably. Tennis rather got a little bit of cars. He's got, that is Fren behind him, I believe. Is it Slicker as well? It is Slicker as well. So both the Ferraris now running 12th and 13th, but also running 4th and 5th. So, everyone's all nice together, Jess. It's all nice and nice, isn't it? Lamborghini, 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 Ferrari, Ferrari, Porsche, McLaren, Bentley, Porsche, and Audi. Then comes Ferrari, and then comes the old Merc, who's rather struggling in this race, but he's still going. He's driving well, to be fair. Yes, you make mistakes. Yes, you really kind of show sometimes struggle, but it's a circuit like this, and you can't blame the drivers. It's a difficult circuit. On this game, it's proving to be a real hassle for the drivers, especially down in some corners where it's kind of that third, fourth gear, just losing it. I mean, I've had a lot of issues in the past losing it around here, so it's always possible. As S up, still starting to close up in your race leader. 27 of 43. So we've still got, what, 17-ish laps to go, Jess?
I can't do maths very well. I haven't done maths since, well, properly since... Well, I do maths in my job, but, you know, I can't do maths properly, so, yeah.
What's it?
Well, ish, yeah. We just got to live with that, okay? If we done it wrong, then blame us. But yeah, I think it's all going to be about survival of some of these guys now to try and keep it on the road. But for these guys, it's about life and death. Darren wants to get that position. Essa is trying his best to retain that position of 10th because he doesn't want to be near the back of the grid, but he probably won't be. Right now, gap has dropped between first and second now. 6.2 seconds now. I think it was 8 seconds before, wasn't it?
Something like that. So it's definitely starting to close down. So I was having a drink there. Yeah, it's actually starting to close down quite quickly, actually. Now 5.5 seconds. I think that might actually be because Jasmine's caught, he's got up to traffic. So that's the reason why potentially that gap is starting to close now because it's got 1, 2, 3 cars. It's ahead of him. And not a nice position. And these guys are running a lot slower. Remember, than the guys ahead, so Jazzman's rather going to be a little bit cautious right now. This is kind of the awkward situation where I said maybe he should have pitted because now he's got himself in this kind of situation where he's going to lose time. And these guys, they should, I imagine, probably pull out on the inside. He's kind of in a nice opportune time, so they'll all pull out here down the straight. And let's see, one will pull out now. Essa is going to stay ahead slightly. And this is actually good tactics right there. That's actually pretty good tactics from Darren Sinclair, actually, because he's going to follow these guys. And now Essa's going to be having to get out of the way in a nice opportune time because where's he going to get out of the way here? He's going to try. He can't get out of the way right now. So Essa's going to lose a lot of time here. Yeah, this is going to work perfectly for Darren Sinclair. Unless Essa's time this well. There we go. That's almost perfect round the outside then. Let's see, has he got him the power then? Audi versus Porsche. Porsche forces the Audi off the road. Ever so slightly, the Audi kind of ran himself out as well. So, almost worked that one there for Darren Sinclair. Not quite, however.
Yep, exactly. We're on lap 30 of this race now. Jazzman's on lap 30. These guys are on lap 29 of 43. And, you know, at least some of these guys will be running less laps than everyone else. But for the guys up front, they just got to basically keep their eyes on the road and their eyes on the prize. Because don't forget, the prize at stake here for the Drivers' Championship. And it's up to Jazzman and Tinnis to see if they can do it. Darren Sinclair is catching up as well. And for the other guys, it's about pride at the end of the day to try and climb as many positions as they can in the championship. For a majority of these guys, this will be their best finish in the championship. So they will relish it in certain ways right now. And we could see the two Ferraris, the Chicano and Overtaker, maybe fighting out for position if Overtaker can catch up. Because 2:26 for Overtaker, 2:2. No, it's 2:4 now. Last lap, Chicano was 2:26. Might I add. So Overtaker being a little bit slower there, but yeah, just look at these train of cars start to form. I think this could be a final good few laps of this race, and I'm seeing a bit of bodywork being lost from Darren Sinclair there, but that was from earlier on, of course.
Yeah, after he did make that mistake earlier on in the race. So Darren Sinclair, currently 11th. He's stuck behind Essa right now. He's a little bit further away from Vetro. 2 seconds now. Vetro, again, kind of in that kind of little bubble. He likes finishing in around about that, what, set 5th down to around 9th. He got a 3rd earlier on. This is, I think, the worst result maybe he's had all season, actually, around about 9th. If I'm not too mistaken. I think he had a 13th, potentially, earlier on in the season. As Jazzman's gone off.
Oh, Jazzman, no! Was he trying to go into the pits?
I don't think he was. Lost the rail there on the exit of Club Corner.
And Tinnis in the pits. Tinnis could come out in the lead here.
Very interesting. Jazzman wide at turn 1. What is going on here with your race leader? He's wide. Does he start to have... He's got an issue potentially? Is he losing some tyre temperatures? I know the circuit temperature's going down, but Jazzman, a little bit of a mistake there.
Yeah, that could cost him. That could cost him the lead of this race, and he's in traffic as well. If I was him, probably pitting would be the best option. Maybe a lap later, potentially. But Tinnis, I don't know what to think about Tinnis at the moment. I think Tinnis will be happy that he's leading still. due to Jazzman's mistake, but I don't think he wants to win this way, but whatever advantage you'll take with both hands.
Was about 24 second stop as Jasmine gets ahead of Vector.
Did Jasmine get a penalty for that, by the way? An extra penalty, or?
Still side by side. Vector trying to slot behind. Jasmine just isn't going through. There we go. Through now as they finally slot past. No, he's still got a penalty from that one. I don't think he's got a penalty at least.
He's got one. I think that must have been for what happened.
No, I don't think so because he lost more time in the game, so he's got a penalty somewhere else that we've not caught. Meanwhile, Bicky Daddy's in second. By the way, I might just add, by the way, that somehow with all of this, it just seems to me that the Ferrari might actually have enough fuel. I mean, they'll all have to stop. But they have enough fuel to go to the end of this race. I believe.
They could just do a bit of slash and dash on the tyres, maybe.
Well, they just a splash and dash of just like a litre of fuel at the end of the race. Jazzman will come in the pit lane, I imagine, this lap. No, he's going to stay out then, so he's going to just go and say, well, I'm not making a mistake. I'm going to push on. And if you guys in the com box think I'm going to make a mistake, I'm going to pit straight away, you're wrong, because I'm staying out. And off he goes into his natural habitat, up front. He's now got a gap. Meanwhile, these three guys down the back on that 31 now of 43, the leader of that ahead, still battling away for the minor finishing positions of 9th, 10th and 11th. Really the only battle going on. Darren Sinclair going to have Alonso up the inside, and that's brave on the brakes there from the Audi. Porsche should see him coming. Indeed, he does so, but that's not going to work because the inside lines through this corner, and he'll be squeezed off the road and squeezed wide there. Indeed, he does do so. So Essa places his car pretty well, and that is the issue of that corner. It's pretty difficult to get through. Now let's see if we can come through up the inside here, down into Brookland. You'll see the bright car, maybe pull out to the left. Thinks better of it, so won't do it straight away. He has to sit back for the time being. As they now come through, down towards the bottom of the circuit again, trying on the outside here, trying to do the cutback line. Audi versus Porsche, and again, not a lot of straight line speed difference depending in these cars, but it looks like the Audi just has that little bit more of momentum.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it? I wasn't expecting the Ferraris to do well here around here. I thought I would expect the Porsche to be the second best car around it, but no, it actually is the Ferraris. I think if Brent did not make that mistake, he would have been up there with Chicano and overtaken as well. So what could it be for Brent? Sad times.
Indeed. Well, up front, gap now 27 seconds between the first three drivers, might I say. Bicky Daddy's still in this kind of little gaggle of cars. He's currently in second. Third overall. We're still waiting for Chicano and overtaking to come in, so that means I think Ethan is net fourth, I believe, potentially. Don't quote me on that one, but I think definitely he is in around about a net fourth position. We're just waiting for Jasmine. Is he going to come in the pit? No, he's staying out another lap 33. 11 to go then here today in the old sunny Silverstone here today, and the battle's still going on for 11th and 10th position, Jess, and the battle is raging on heavily, and it is that Audi again. You know what? Is he going to try the same move twice down into this corner? I think it could be a chance. A bit too far back this time round, though.
Yep, exactly, and I think Darren wants to get that move done pretty sharpish because it's not that long to go until the end of this race, but I think the tyres are going to come. It's managing his tyres quite well, actually. It's a bit colder than the cars in front of them, but I think that should help him towards the end because the tyre degradation is not going to be too bad for him. S is about a bit hotter at the moment, though.
Yeah, of course, don't take that by any pin of course. The tyre telemetry doesn't mean anything on this game.
Oh, sorry about that.
In the spectate mode, I found that out sometimes. I mean, it could say you're on wet tyres when it's a boom dry circuit, which is a little bit of an interesting thing. I mean, they could be on the wet. Who knows? We've seen it before in some of the F1 leagues in AOR. We've seen that. I remember definitely in the past, and look, vice versa, dry tyres on a wet circuit. But I don't want to be doing that in a GT3 because someone's taken out the 100-meter board down there into Copse Corner. That isn't really ideal because that's pretty useful on the circuit. It's roughly in the same location for some of the drivers, I reckon. So they can take solace in that one. Meanwhile, Jazzman now coming up to lap Davies out. So he's up now everyone up to 8th position, rather running away. But remember, still got 30 seconds stop to go. as these guys all still have a little battle down the straight. As you can see in the foreground, there is Jazzman. Is he going to come in the pit lane this lap? Nope, still doesn't come in, so he's staying
out again.
Doesn't want to stop, does he?
Nope. He wants to. He's doing a tennis in Bathurst. Could this what? I think he's trying to make sure the gap is big as he can, so when he comes out, he still comes out in the lead.
Well, it's always a possibility, so he could be doing that. We'll find out, of course, as the race goes on. Meanwhile, Overtaker and and Chicano start to close up between those two right now. Darren Sinclair's still trying to close up. Well, it won't be closing up if he does that one, which is going wide off the road. And they are still driving a nice, consistent race. These 2 minute 3, 2 minute 3, 2 minute 4. So the gap's starting to open up ever so slightly. In fact, it is Essa who seems to be the quicker of the three right now and is trying to get ahead of Vector more so than defend.
Yeah, exactly. As they get towards the end of this race, we've got a Porsche, and an Audi chasing. That's what I like to see. But I think Vetro must be getting a bit worried at these two cars chasing. But Vetro, I think it'll be a mixed bag situation for him right now. He's probably expecting higher, but he's had a better season compared to last season, I think. And I believe he's still 5th in the standings, so he probably wants to stay there for these guys as well. Darren, I think, will probably go up in the standings as well. As does a few of these guys. Overtake will definitely go up with the way he's going, and Chicano as well.
These two doing relatively well in the Ferraris. Definitely, remember, they will drop down to, I believe, 5th and 6th in due course. Because remember, I think these two are definitely yet to stop unless I'm incredibly mistaken. I
think it was Tinnis. Out the top 5, I would say. Obviously, Ethan stopped. But out of the top 5, the only one that stopped, I believe, was Tinnis.
Yeah, so indeed I was correct there in my brain. So those guys still yet to stop, so we'll be seeing what they can do later on in the race. But still, well, to be fair, we haven't got long to go. Meanwhile, talking about pit stops, Davey's out to come in the pit lane, and that's going to drop him right the way down to probably around about...
He already?
I don't know. Has he been in already? I think he has. No, I don't think he has.
Actually, no, he hasn't because he's running out of fuel. So, yeah, that's his first stop.
Well, these guys will fly past yet again, Jess. Now on lap number 34 of the 35th lap. Remember, because your leader is a lap ahead of them. So they're on lap the 34th of the 35 laps totally complete in this race, of the 43 that can be completed in this entire race.
Technically 42 because the formation lap was a lap, so technically 42 racing laps. 42 laps,
but technically 43 if you're counting it on project cars as a tail. Meanwhile, Darren Sinclair rather taking out a lot of camera equipment there, but by the looks of that one, that was a quick flick from the cameraman. Fair play to him, that. Meanwhile, there he's at. Where is he? He's currently under the circuit by the looks of the game, and now he'll pop up, and he's behind his fellow brother. So the two brotherly friends are now running themselves in what is 13th and 14th position as Rotary continues to close up ever so slightly on the guys ahead, but not by much. Remember, like 2 minutes, 2 minute 2.3 race leaders, 2 minutes 0.7, well 2 minute 0.2. So they're all very close together. Could make for an interesting final stage of this race, especially when Jazzman stops. Now, I reckon Jazzman is going to try and stay out. Now, try to imagine, Jess, he'll come in right about now, because if he leaves it too late and then makes a mistake, he's going to lose a lot more time than you'd imagine, wouldn't he?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Jazzman, I think he's just got to think on his feet, really, as well. Is he going to... And he comes in like you said. I think he's listened to your mind, Evil. He said... And Jazzman says, wait, Evil said you need to pit. We should pit.
Well, he had no fuel. To be fair, you know what? I reckon Bicky Daddy's going to follow them in sooner enough.
Yeah, he's got to. Otherwise, there's no way. Otherwise, he's going to...
He's got more fuel, so he might stay out another lap, but I reckon he'll come in now. And he does.
Here he goes.
And two of the times of guest pit stops today then from Evil. And, well, I don't think the Ferraris are coming in straight away because they've got 27 litres of fuel still in.
I don't know how.
I mean, fair play to
Except
them.
if they might have pitted. Actually, no, they didn't pit earlier.
They haven't pitted. I'd be surprised if they did, because otherwise they're right up. Well, they're not up the front of the field, but they're right up the top area. I'm wondering where Tinnis is going to come out in all this one. I think Jazzman's already leaving the pit box. He is leaving the pit box
Here
already.
he goes
So
now. I think Jazzman's in the lead.
You know what? He's quite far ahead. I thought about 8-9 seconds.
Let's see. Yeah, I think he's 7 seconds. You're almost right, Evil. And Big Kid Daddy's pitted too.
Yeah, I mean, he is going to rejoin around about 10 seconds, well, maybe about 15 seconds back. So a nice lonely race for them. I think Big Kid Daddy's going to take it. More Solaris that he's going to finish on the podium, but he's quite far back. Meanwhile,
here we go. Battle between. Oh, he touched Chicano there just a little bit there. He might have lost a bit of.
I think it was the curb, actually. He got on the curb, not the car, Jess. So,
oh, right, sorry.
That's what the bounce was. It was bumpity bump bump as they went over those sleeping policemen, and they're going over sleeping policemen like you imagine if you did it in real life. Probably not very good. We don't condone. We do condone. Don't run over policemen. That's not a good thing. We do condone not running over policemen. Don't do it.
I don't. Overtaker. Careful.
Overtaker seems to not care about the sleeping policeman. He's rather running them over. But nonetheless, there'll be I think they'll knock on his door going, hello, who's this? But you know, they might sometimes say, who do you think you are? And what's the back, Jess?
Wait, sorry, you cut off a bit there. What did you say?
You know, if they suddenly came to your door and said, who do you think you are against these? If they say, I'm Sterling Moss. They would always respond.
I would have not have got that.
Never mind. Maybe some people might get in the chat. Meanwhile, good old Darren Sinclair, good old Vetro, they're running 8th, 9th and 10th position, still batting together down the back of the field. Davy's out, meanwhile, is I think got past his teammate, who's rather, well, he's rather going through the grass right now, is the Black Falcon Mercedes, is dropping back downwards. Meanwhile, the two Ferraris, they're still together. And, well, God forbid how these two are doing so good on the field. They have easily enough fuel to go to the end!
No!
Oh, off goes Overtaker! And, well, never mind. I said they were doing well, and off he goes. Down towards the barrier and into the wall, and that will be damage to the car. And Overtaker, who's had such a good race, now in trouble. Now there goes Ethan up into 5th position. And Overtaker now surely coming into the pit lane.
He's got to.
Damage on the car, and no, I'm not going to say about that.
Overtaker's had bad luck towards the end of these races, I've got to say.
3-0 for Evil there on the curses.
No, 3, I think it was at 3-1. So
3-1. 3-1. And,
oh,
Chicano.
we don't know.
Chicano's running in 4th now, and, well, I mean, he's the only sole Ferrari now running quite well, because I think that's a lot of damage done to that car. I think every person's still yet to come. So eventually, he's not going to overtake, because he's quite far back, actually, all things considered, unless, depending how much damage he's got. There's a bit of a clunk on the wall, so we're definitely probably rear right suspension damage. But, what really want to be saying, meanwhile, it's up 2.7 seconds separating them, 6.8 now, starting to drop down. 20 seconds back to Big Kid Daddy, behind them Chicano, sitting in a lonely position. Ethan now just probably cruising now, I reckon. I reckon he kind of afford not to push too hard. Now waiting to see is where is overtaking and come out. Now, he's lucky right now, depending on how much damage he's got. As long as he rejoins the circuit before these guys get through the last corner, he should
be on the
come
same
out
lap.
ahead of them. It wasn't too big of an impact. As long as he goes now, and I'd go now, game. Go up. God, no, he's not going to come out ahead of them. He's going to come up behind them. Oh,
no! Oh, no! He's going to be a lap down. That is heartbreaking.
He is a lap down. There he goes. A lap down. Now he's gone. And small mistake. And every time, just I say a Ferrari's going well, they always road. Well, one of them, well, to be fair, Chicano's doing well, and he hasn't gone off the road. So,
G-roll.
Go on. To prove that Evil's cuts is wrong and not to spin, and everything will be happy. Meanwhile, these three still together. 8th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Do you know what? Just like I said, Vettel likes around this 7th, 6th, 5th position. He's now in 7th.
He likes that, doesn't he? He's had 6th, 8th, 5th, 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 7th, 10th, 3rd. And he's going to get 7th today. Meanwhile, Chicano doing his mandatory stop.
Yep, not 37. still comes in the pit then. The last of the top guys still to come in, unless every person's yet to still come in. I'm quite sure.
Nope, he hasn't stopped yet. I don't know.
Remember, it's been such a race. I think he may have pitted quite early on. Well, we'll find out if he comes to the pit lane, if he stops or not. I think he hasn't. But don't quote me on that. I should really know who's coming to pit.
Some people might have paid attention more than us, Evil, and might tell us in the chat.
Maybe. But he kind of comes out on circuit. He'll come out He'll come out in 5th because the nearest car to him is, 15 seconds behind him now, really. It's every person. He's potentially to come in the pit lane still. But don't quote me on that one. I can't tell you. But if he does, that might promote Vector up to another position, potentially. And that could be interesting indeed. He'll get 6th in this race, depending. But I think every person has stopped. Otherwise, if he hasn't stopped, he'll be in the pit lane on this lap.
Yeah, because I think that's when you have to pit, isn't it? Probably a few laps before the end.
And you could pit any lap before the final lap, of course. So you could stop now. But you have to stop 1 lap before the final lap of this race. So they have until lap 42 if they do want to come and stop. Meanwhile, guess who's caught up to the back of this group of cars for the second time? Well, the third time, technically. He spun earlier on and dropped behind them again. It's unfair. He's back again. You know what? He runs round 2 overtaking. Let's see if he can get through pretty easily this time up. We'll get through 1 relatively easy because he gets out of the way down in towards...
That was Eto, I believe.
The loop, gets right out of the way there behind him. And his Overtaker was actually closing up. Now his Overtaker, where's Overtaker and Fresnel this? They are closing up quite rapidly on these guys, actually. This is going to be an interesting last couple of laps, actually, between these gaggle of cars.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this is going to play out as well in terms of points. So they got to leave it on the line, but they don't want to make any mistakes. So I think it's because the track's getting a bit more slippery now. I think that's why a few more people are making more mistakes, like Overtaker.
Road, I think, has Pren gone off? He has gone off.
Oh, well, as soon as I said someone would spin. 3-2. 3-2. Well, 2-3.
There goes Pren around the road. As meanwhile, Jazzman, where is he doing? He's currently in the lead of this race, still driving on comfortably 6 seconds ahead of his fellow teammate Tinus, who's right now stuck behind Overtaker right now, and Overtaker lapped down will be getting out of the way relatively soon. But nonetheless, Jess, not really. Apart from earlier on, the top 2 haven't really made too many key mistakes. You've seen them both have their small snaps and small off-road excursions, but they don't really make mistakes, do they, anymore?
No, not exactly at the moment, but I've got to say, Jazzman and Tinnis have been driving a faultless race all race, really, and I'm sure they're going to be happy with this. I think, I've got to say, it may be too early to call this, but I've got to say they've got the team's championship in the bag.
I think they've already got it in the bag, actually. I'm not quite... I think they might have it in the bags already. I mean, the championship really not as prestigious as it would be in other tiers and other leagues in AOR. Of course, the AOR Project Cars Team Championship was rather always been kind of dominated, to be fair. It's always had one team dominating it, whether it's been Braxa and Gaza, or it's been Jazzman and Tinnis, whether it's been Ollie D and Matty D back in the old days, even Scold and Ethan a while ago as well. But we've always had one team dominating the championship, really, and nothing different there. I think that's getting out the way of the race leader. Let's see, indeed it is lap 39, and now lap 40 for your race leader now, and Vetro just up the road. He's currently sitting in a nice dandy 7th position, about to get lapped by your race leader Jazzman, who's coming through the second time. Now this time, where is he going to let him through? I reckon probably down in towards Maggots, I reckon. It's a bit too far back here. We rather will be speeding up now.
I think he did the same thing towards Zout did earlier.
Yeah, it's worked pretty well for him, actually, because car behind couldn't capitalise on him.
Exactly.
Lap 40 now for your race leader, though, and a nice kind of pedestrian style race, to be fair, all things considered. It's been rather slow burning, just letting the cars go through, but that is what can happen in GT3 racing. It can always turn into this type of kind of just little bit of, what's the word, a little bit of a snoozy little kind of race, but an action going on still throughout the field. You still got battles going on. Darren Sinclair still trying to get that 8th position 7th position off of Vetcher right now. We're still waiting to see if every person has to stop, which I believe is not. Which could be the best result for McLaren that I think the entirety of this season. It seems like every person's got a bit of a handle on the car. Remember, he was putting in the gravel and off the road on lap number 1. And he's right now doing a brilliant job in 7th. Well, 6th.
Yeah, is he 6th? I don't even know. I think every person has pitted, you know, but I don't know. I think he did. I guess I'm not entirely sure, but Vetcher will be happy with 7th anyway. Just seeing how far he's come this season, I think he's probably outperformed the Porsche in many ways as well. Darren, no, it could still change. The positions could still change. They've been battling forever. Vetcher's going to be liking this battle still anyway, no matter what happens.
Yeah, I reckon he will be. Well, coming for entry here on lap 41 now. By technicalities, remember, because these guys pretty much might as well be. Well, they're a lap down, they're on lap 40, but really they've only got 2 and a bit laps to go. Because remember, your leader is a lap ahead. Lapped everyone up to 7th position. Might even get 6th before. Well, I don't think he'll get 6th before the end of this race. A bit the gap a little bit too big right now, but be interesting. It's a little bit wide there from Vetcher and down Sinclair. Won't be able to cover it off too much. He's a little bit too far back right now. And that's kind of the situation right now. Darren Sinclair's been in the entire race. He's just too far back, too kind of much in the zone. He just kind of just can't find a way past Vetcher because Vetcher is just a little bit, he looks so even on pace.
Yeah, they are. I've been looking at the lap times, I've got to say, from these guys. Vetcher, 2 minute 4, down 0.4, down Sinclair, 2 minute 4 point. No, Vetcher, 2 minute 4.7, down 2 minute 4.4. So a few tenths difference, but I can still say they're quite similar on pace as well. Etta is a little bit faster than them, but he still can't get past. And Tinnis is about to lap these two as well. So, yeah, hopefully these two move out of the way very quickly.
Indeed, I reckon they will do so probably pretty quickly as well. Well, those two still running in their fine positions. Only battle going on the circuit right now because everywhere else it's rather quiet and sleepy. Right, we say the gaps are big and that can happen, but I've got to say, fair play to where everyone is. No one of the top 4, or well, Beaky Daddy and Ethan have had no mistakes this race as far as we've seen. Which has been an incredible performance from the pair of them. Ethan a minute down though on the race leader. I must say, Beaky Daddy's done an incredibly good job, by the way, to stay right now under half a minute from this net lead.
And his lap time is already pretty much there, and he's in the 2 minutes as well, so he's doing absolutely fantastic, I've got to say. So,
on circuit nearly, apart from the race leader.
Yeah, I think the only one, Ethan's managed to get under a minute as well, so he's not running too bad either. I'm just trying to think who is not being lapped. I think it's the top 6, I think.
Yeah, everyone up to every person has not been lapped this race. Every person currently going through there. Your race leader currently, I think, coming through Woodcut. Indeed, yeah, coming down towards Copse Corner. Behind them, you can see that battle between Darren Sinclair and Vetto still battling together, but the gap now starting to open up ever so slightly more. And through down into Copse Corner. Vetto still just about holding on that position right for that final real slot in that top group of cars. And he's doing a fine job. He's been holding the line well. No mistakes, nothing going wrong. He's just driving pretty much near on perfectly for whatever he can do. It's been a faultless effort. And right now, kind of deserving of that thing. Every person did have to stop then, Jazz.
Yeah, so we were right. So he does.
So he does then. Now the question is, where is he going to come out? Is he going to come out ahead or behind Vectra? That's the question.
I wonder, because that could be a very good battle, a three-way battle for P6.
Well, if he wants to be coming out, the lollipop man's going to have to come out now, and he'll come out ahead. I think he'll come out ahead, just about.
That would be a good stop from every person, I've got to say.
He's going to come out ahead then, so he's got lucky. He's got very, very lucky indeed with that one, but now that means the top 5 are the only ones on the lead lap, so he's got a nice little buffer then. Behind them, Darren Sinclair. Is he going to have a London Vectro here down in towards his corner? No, he thinks better of it again. Vectro just holding that line. No, he had a little look then all of a sudden. I think he's getting a little bit flustered now. Now he's got himself caught up and he's got lapped. That is the worst place you want to get lapped because now that's rather ruined that one. Meanwhile, Overtaker all of a sudden trying to get on the back of Essa. And Essa, who's been rather keeping himself nice and cool and collective, is getting overtaken by Overtaker right now in the Ferrari, who's, I think, after that mistake earlier on in the damage, it's going to be trying to come through. And I think this is going to be a nice little dive up the inside. Thinks of it. Can't do it, though. Has to back off of that one. And he'll live to fight another day. But for how much longer is a different question, because he's right there, and he's almost putting himself in the gravel. He almost does put himself in the gravel. And, well, he did go in the gravel, to be fair. They're both pushing on hard. Overtaker wants it, and I think he's going to dive it.
Yeah, he wants
Remember,
to
he's
put
got a penalty.
everything.
He's got a penalty. But I think for pride and glory, he's going to send it. Probably down into...
Meanwhile, I do believe that the leader's about to cross the finish line.
No.
No, he's not. I thought he was, but I'm looking at the wrong part of the map. Sorry, guys.
Is he going to have a look here? Can't do it yet again. Well, keep on it. We'll go to your leader just in a few seconds' time. Whilst these two battle to go for the final position here today. This is going to be incredibly close. I don't want to cut away right now because we're about to see a dive, I reckon, here. If he doesn't do it, we'll cut to it. I don't think he is going to do it. Here comes your race leader and through the last corner. Jazzman will win here in Britain. He'll win. Here, the Grand Prix to Silverstone from Tennyson second. Yeah, it's not a Grand Prix, but he went here in Silverstone. Here we go. Those two still banging together, like, through the last corner. I think Overtaker's not going to get it. Just he thought, with the penalty minus, he'll finish the line in about 9th and 10th position, respectively. Every person's 6th. Find Vettel there. Vettel 7th, his favourite position this season. Darren Sinclair 8th. Essa 9th. Overtaker's murdered the barrier in 10th. Fren 11th. Slicker 12th. Davies out 13th. And 14th is going to be that one. Bicky Dan's going to finish in 3rd. We're waiting on Ethan, Chicano, and that's it to cross the line. That's how much the gap opened up at the end of this race.
Well, I enjoyed that battle towards the end now. I think quality, really, I think was most important there. So good job, Essa and Overtaker there. That was a good battle that you had there as well. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to hear from Jazzman, our race winner, in a minute as well, with the podium interviews, of course. Well, the interviews, because we interview pretty much everyone now who wants to be interviewed. So we've got Ethan, so it's just a Carno now, I believe.
No, I've got Chicano. He's going to cruise around, you know,
that's
5 miles an hour.
That's Chicano's best result.
I don't think it is, you know. Fair play.
Yeah, because Chicano's best result was the first race in Zelda last week, P6.
Indeed, well, through the last corner comes Chicano, then across the line, and he'll take a nice, happy 5th position, and finally, a Ferrari will get a nice position in this race. After a curse the other 3 again.
I think we all did.
Jazzman wins here in Britain then. In the land of British motorsport from Tennyson 2nd. It's Bicky Daddy in 3rd, ahead of Ethan in 4th, and behind them, I say Chicano in 5th. Every person a very good 6th position. Vettel recovery drive to 7th position. Again, another solid point scoring for the man who is 42. Darren Sinclair in 8th, Essa is 9th. Overtaker is 99th. Right now in the 10th position. Fren is 11th. I don't know what I'm saying. Davies out is 12th. Slicker is 13th. Zat101 is 14th. And, well, that is the only guy who's finished. The other driver would have been Archer, but he, of course, is not racing.
Yep, exactly. And I've got to say, Evil, who has been your driver of the day?
Yeah, well, I'm going to give it to Bicky Daddy for just being so consistent in that race. He might have had a quiet one, but he definitely is a man who is very much being the most consistent right now in these types of races. He's just always up there. When there is not a lot going on, when he just needs to be scoring those solid points for that 3rd in the championship, he's just there.
Exactly. And I think we've got one person waiting in the interview box, so shall we drag him in? Let's drag him. I'll let you do the honours.
I'll do the honours. I had a swig of my drink. Let's drag our first man in. Let me drag him in. Let me drag him in. Let me drag him in. I can't drag him in, Jess.
I'll do it. I'll try.
I can't drag him in. It's gone right. We've dragged him in. I can't drag him in for some reason. I don't know what's happened. I think the mouse isn't working.
No, I've done it. I've done it, Evil. Don't worry.
It's fine. Everything's under control. Well, we'll speak to our first man right now. It's the man who finished 4th. Nice. Quite a race. You said earlier, Ethan, you might have a lonely race. And to be fair, it kind of ended up being almost a lonely race, but a little bit hectic in the midfield as you try to get past everyone.
Yeah, I thought I was going to be a lonely race, so I decided, well, I was going to pit early anyway, but I thought, let's pit a lot earlier than I was anticipating and give myself a bit of a challenge and, see how I can do getting through, the majority of the entire field. Did end up losing some time in the end, but, it's not really a big issue. I did enjoy carving my way through the field. Really tested the car, tested my, myself. So obviously, I'm racing people who I don't usually race in the field. So, I'm keeping myself, free of rust. Making sure I'm, capable of making competent overtakes, and it's exactly what I did. Waited for the right opportunity. Some people jumped out the way, which I was kind of upset about because I like the challenge of people, making it difficult, but not too pushing it over the line. But some people like asked an over person, they jumped out the way, which is their complete choice if they're running their own race. So I don't really blame them for getting out of the way. And then from that point on, it was just lapping by myself, just lapping as consistent as I can. And that was it, really.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we'll go to the man who won this race, Jazzman. I had a mistake earlier on as I caught it. You having a bit of a trip through the grass down into the Vale corner. But you got your teammate who, rather again, seems to have that really nice loser rear end.
My mistake when I had a half spin was I just lost a bit of concentration, touched the curb, and bang. Nearly lost the race there. When I was behind Tennis car did look a bit less stable than mine. So it was a really great battle, and I'm just pretty thrilled that we got another 1-2 today.
Indeed, and you were, like you said, Jasmine. I mean, is it potentially Tennis's setup? Potentially, because he's a lot quicker, it seems, in a straight line, but more loose in the corners. Do you reckon he's running less downforce because he's expecting to be more up the front?
No, I mean, we normally always run pretty much the same setup and stuff. And this week, we were running pretty much the same setup, same downforce and everything. I just think, I don't know, he just looked like he was having a bit more of a struggle than I was with the car. So,
indeed. Well, let's move downwards to the man who drove an incredible race, might I say, in the McLaren, from having a bit of an accident in Cop's corner and almost going off into the barrier, recovering somehow, just luckily enough, and then getting 5th position. By an incredible amount, by the way. I must say, every person, congratulations, and just take us through your incredible afternoon of racing.
Well, thank you. It was Davies out was among me in the first lap, and I was trying to let him go into Cops, and I saw Overtaker, I think, spun, and then I lost it as well. And then every time when I was in traffic, I felt that I was, too much on the edge and almost losing the rear. And so as soon as they all went into the pits, I knew I was going to the last lap to pit. And every once in a while I was looking at the timings, and then I saw a 204 from Vectro or ESSA. So I knew that if I kept doing the 203 5s, then it was all good. So then, when I came out of the pits and Vetro was 3 seconds behind me, I knew that those couple of times that he did a 204 was the reason that I overcut him. Yeah.
Indeed, and just another good race for him. And the McLaren, been struggling a little bit this season, but it seems just starting to get used to it now. It's a difficult car. Just take us through that McLaren and how it is compared to some other cars.
Well, I think it's, in my opinion, it's the easiest to drive, right? From like with the standard setup. But I just think that on traction it's a bit slower, and if you really try to push it, then yeah, you don't really gain so much or something. I keep chasing my tail with it, so I just focus on being very consistent when I know what I can do, and that's also because I'm pretty new to this. I know that if I want too much, then yeah, I'll end up spinning anyway every time, which almost always happens during these races. But yeah, with last weekend Zolder, I lost the position because of stupid things every race. So I was focused on not doing that again. And yeah, the McLaren, when you, like I said, when I think I'm like 3-4 tenths below how fast I comfortably can do, but just keeping away from it makes the car real easy and predictable. Yeah.
Indeed. Well, Jess, we'll cut to you, by the way, as I don't think we've got anyone else in the interview box by the sounds of it.
No, we don't. Not from our side, anyway. Obviously, they got some from the PC side ready, but not from our side. But I've got to say, well done to your Jazzman for taking the victory, and for Tinnis and Big Cadelli for the podiums. And well done to everybody else as well for giving us some good racing as well. And some people getting some best performances as well. But we'll see you next week. I do believe, Evil, correct me if I'm wrong, is it the 90-minute race around Spa? Is that what the next race is?
It's a 90-minute race around Spa and beautiful conditions. Totally going to be a nice challenge for all the drivers and some nice foggy conditions and some dry a few times.
Yeah, similar to Austria, I think, as well. So that should be fun. But anyway, hope you enjoyed it. And we will see you next week, same time, 8 p.m. No qualifying, reverse grid. Should be a lot of fun. Have a good evening. See you soon. I've been Jess. Evil's been Evil. See you soon. Bye.